Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here, and it is Tuesday, and we played the Knicks last night and got railroaded again. This is two games in a row at home where the referees control things in the fourth quarter, and it causes us to have a difficulty to close games out and win, which is annoying. I'm going to say that right now. They did this interesting thing with the refs yesterday. They gave us all the favorable calls in the first half, and then in the second half, they balanced it out. And that they do that sometimes. Like Tony Brothers going to take it upon himself to review the kick to the nuts by Jakob by Cat. Cat kicked Jakob in the nuts, and Jakob was holding himself, and he's like, "Yeah, he kicked me." And Tony's like, "Oh, really?" So he goes over to the video and watches it, and he gives us a flagrant foul on Cat, and we get like free throws in possession. I'm like, wow, Tony Brothers is looking out for us today. Like in some ways, he just ignored the big Austrian complaint about getting kicked, but he actually went and looked at it, which was kind of cool in a way. But I should have known it was too good to be true. I think this is a symptom of the NBA Cup in some ways. I think this is a symptom of the Atlantic Division hierarchy they want. And I think it's a symptom of, New York is now a golden boy team, just like Boston and LA also. We could say also Dallas is a golden boy team also. So 2 games in a row, we played against teams that are very much darlings of marketing for the NBA. And the storyline, the script they want to write is, they can't be losing to the Raptors. Because honestly, both games, we had opportunities to up and come and take these wins. Now, some people say, oh, it's the Raptors are inexperienced at closing out games. That's actually true. I'll agree with that because in some ways, if we had more experience understanding just how much 8 versus 5 feels and how to close out a game like this, we understand just how much more we have to do. Sure, I can make the excuse Scotty went out and that hurt us. And that was part of the reason why we lost last night, too. There's a lot of different places. I can specifically point to 2 calls that they made last night that were absolutely wrong and that really screwed us over. Whether it was the 4-point play they gave Jalen Brunson, where Davion Mitchell did not touch him, and he got awarded an extra free throw. That was absolute horse shit. And then really the worst one was RJ's 3-point play that he should have gotten. There's no way that should have been side out. He had continuation. He made it. That call, if it's LeBron, if it's Luka, if it's, one of the Knicks, they call it continuation and one and put him on the free throw line and count the 2 points. Now, how insidious is it? RJ made the basket, but those 2 points didn't even count because the foul was on the court. This is part of the manipulation that shows you exactly what it is. It's like that should have been continuation. With any other superstar in this league, most of them, they would give them the basket and the free throw and say and one. But no, because they know the game's close enough for us to steal it, they have to stop us in our tracks when that kind of a play is that late in the game, and that is a game changer, and that's a clutch play. So they rob us of RJ getting a 3-point play. So there you go. There's 4 points taken away from the Raptors or given to the Knicks right there, and it's a 5-point loss. I'm just telling you, sure, we got to clean things up. Sure, we could have guarded Cat better right at the end when he made the 3, the dagger. And yeah, fuck you, Cat, for fucking being a poor winner and fucking run around like you did something crazy. I understand why you did that, Cat. I understand why you did that because you're a loser and you never won in Toronto until last night. That's the damn truth. He played for Minnesota his whole career until this year. And we know from playing Minnesota early this year that they had not won in Toronto in fucking forever. So Karl Anthony Towns had never felt the feeling of winning in Scotiabank Arena until last night. So he gloated about it. And he held up his jersey and said, New York, we're winners. We're winners. You're winners because Tony Brothers and Ed Malloy decided you're going to be winners tonight. So don't get all proud and happy because the refs had to help y'all win last night. And that, you know what? Honestly, I don't believe in the Knicks. I think the Knicks are a sham. I think they're overrated. I love OG. I love Precious. But I don't think they're as good as everybody thinks they are. I think that they're overrated by the NBA media and the NBA overall. They're inflated, and they are not as good as everybody thinks they are. In some ways, they've had an easy schedule this year so far, and that's partly why their record looks so good. They said that on the broadcast last night, that the New York Knicks have been playing pushovers for the most part, and early part of the schedule has been easy for them. So their record's inflated. I'm going to tell you right now, that team's going to have problems. Y'all think you're going to bust up the Celtics? I don't think you are. I think that y'all are worse than you were last year. And I think that in some ways, y'all have some big problems that you're not even trying to look at. You want to ignore. Well, you find out, Knicks Nation, that your team is not built to get a championship this year because honestly, y'all needed a lot of help from the referees last night to get to that win against the lowly Raptors. I'm telling you right now, seriously, y'all shouldn't be proud about that game last night. And real Knicks fans understand just how they were lucky in some ways. Thank you to Ben Stiller, the great comedic actor, for going on Twitter and saying respect to the Raptors. A very well played game, and that was fun to watch. Yeah, thank you, Ben. In some ways, the Raptors are for real, and that's something I'm proud of last night. The Raptors didn't come out there and look bad. No, they didn't. Every game, the only game on TV was our game last night, and we did a good showing. We showed the NBA a lot of different things. Like, whoa, the Raptors are looking really better than we thought. Those rookies on the Raptors look good. The Raptors are hanging with the Knicks. They're actually very competitive. They were beating the Knicks for most of the game. And like, you know what I'm saying? That looks good when you're the only game on TV and all eyes are on you. At least they didn't come out, shit the bed, and get a horrible deficit put on them and look real bad. Because in some ways, when all eyes are on you, you want to build your reputation. Well, you better look good. And the Raptors looked good last night. It executed that. And I can't get mad at them for how they lost because it was 8 versus 5. So it is what it is. 2 games in a row. We get screwed over at home by referees gatekeeping the win from us. It makes me so mad. I wasn't been mad about most games this year, but last night made me mad. It made me mad because of the refs, and then it made me mad to see Karl-Anthony Towns acting like he done something crazy good. No, you did it, you lazy ass. You made a 3 at the end and a dagger, sure. And you did win the game for your team, but motherfucker, don't get it twisted. Yeah, winners, New York is winners. Yeah, when you say that, that's because the NBA designates New York is going to be a winning team and Toronto's going to be an L team because the script they want to write is that way. Is that what you mean, Karl-Anthony Towns? When you run around and say New York, winners, losers, Toronto. Because you know from the inside of being in the NBA and being on the Minnesota Timberwolves before you went to New York that there's a change. There's something different. Because in Minnesota, they ain't trying to help y'all win there. No, and you were used to losing there, Carl, weren't you? You were used to losing a bunch of games. But when you got switched up this summer and you went to New York, all of a sudden you found out a new thing and secretly, oh, New York, they're going to help us win. They want us to win. The NBA wants us to win. We're winners. Is that what you mean, Karl-Anthony Towns? You say, New York, we're winners because we're a team that's designated by the NBA to win. Because that's what it seems like to me. Oh, that was a great switch for you, Carl, going from Minnesota to New York because you're now on a team that's designated to win. Oh, doesn't it feel so good? Man, you're soft still. You're a punk-ass bitch, and you're going to be exposed in the playoffs by the end of it. Watch. Yeah, it was tough, man. I'm mad. I'm mad about this one. This is going to be a little bit of a pissy Raptor Freak stream this morning because I could take one. I don't like taking these games where they screw us over at the end. Like this happened 2 consecutive games in a row. But you know what? If we're going to do it this year and we're going to learn it in the tough year of the development, so be it. So be it. Do it now while our guys are young. Give them those young tests and young lessons right now. And in the next couple of years, we'll be that team that understands what we're up against and we'll overcome it all. Because that's what we have to be as the Raptors. We have to understand that this league doesn't want us to win. So we need to go and take it. We need to do it in a way where they can't fucking take it from us. And that's why we have to be better than them. In some ways, this is the exact story I've told you about privilege. That, there are people in this world that are very good and qualified for jobs, but they get overlooked sometimes because they don't have the privilege in their life propping them up to get in those spots. That's what's happening right here. There's a rich kid down the street that gets everything handed to them. Easy job. Oh, you're a CEO right away, young in the 20s, because they got a whole path to it. And then there's somebody who's more qualified down the street, but they have to work extra hard and they still get screwed over. That's what privilege is right there. And the New York Knicks have privilege. The Toronto Raptors do not. The Lakers have privilege. The Minnesota Timberwolves do not. The Boston Celtics have privilege. The Oklahoma City Thunder do not. That's what I'm saying. These small market teams, these teams that the NBA don't think are attractive, if you are not one of their main teams, like the main cities like LA, New York, and Boston, you are getting screwed. And they are giving red carpets to these fucking teams I just named. That's privilege. That is the epitome of privilege. And so New York, you go ahead and feel good that you're privileged and the headquarters of the NBA is situated in your city. Adam Silver just gets a big boner thinking that you're going to win a championship. Oh, New York's going to win. Oh, I'm so excited about that. I mean, that's what's going on this. Seriously, open your eyes. We know this is the truth. And Tony Brothers, I'm disappointed in you, man. I'm disappointed in you guys for how you switched it up. But that's a ref manipulation. A mirage of showing, oh, we're for both teams. The first half, we'll call it all in Raptors' favor and home, and we'll say, oh, yeah, it looks good. They're actually looking out for us. 50-50 balls for the home team. A flagrant foul on Cat for kicking Yak in the nuts. That kind of stuff is all show because they know when it's closing time, they're going to screw us over. And then they can say, oh, well, we were fair. Look at how we called the first half. It's bullshit. I went and looked at the replay on the NBA channel, and I look at all the comments sometimes to see what people are saying. Knicks fans are delusional. They're coming in there. Good job, Knicks. You took it. You got the win in the end. Good job. It was an ugly win, but you guys got it. I'm so proud of you guys. Yeah, don't be proud of this shit. Y'all needed help to get that win, Knicks Nation. If you come in here and troll me, you come in here and want to comment on it, you go ahead. But no, you're lying to yourself. You think you actually earned that win last night. Tony Brothers helped y'all. Tony Brothers helped y'all, and you know that. Because I look in the comments section, and there's neutral Milwaukee Bucks fan in the comments section of the NBA.com replay for last night in the highlights. What's Milwaukee Bucks fans saying? Because he ain't got no NBA to watch other than our game last night. Bucks fans watching. You know what, guys? It looked like all the calls in the last 5 minutes favored the Knicks and went against the Raptors. Just my opinion as a Bucks fan, just watching it last night. So there's a common NBA fan from another team that ain't got no stake in it. In some ways, Bucks fan probably hates the Raptors to a degree because we always put them out of the playoffs. He has no stake in it. He said, yeah, it looked like they were biased helping the Knicks for the whole last 5 minutes of the game. That's what it looked like to me also. Yeah, Bucks fan. Yeah, and don't tell me I'm a delusional Raptors fan that's just whining and crying, motherfucking Knicks Nation. You motherfuckers know the truth. You have eyes, so keep lying to yourself and tell y'all own you owned that game and won that game on your own. That's bullshit. You know you had hand-holding from Simone Jelks and Giannis Petraeus and Tony Brothers. You know you had hand-holding. You know you did. So don't lie to yourself, Knicks Nation. Don't get all high and mighty and feeling good. New York, we're winners. We're winners. Yeah, because Adam Silver wrote the script and sent it to the replay center for Ed Malloy to go over. Every time Ed Malloy is in the replay center and there is a challenge that involves the Raptors, he is calling it against us. Have you noticed that? Both nights, Ed Malloy was in the replay center. This is a whole new way of ref manipulation by not even being on site. Ed Malloy is in Secaucus, sitting, watching the games. When Tony Brothers or James Capers is talking to him on the headset on challenges against Dallas and New York, Ed Malloy is calling it, this is how you screw the Raptors. Davion Mitchell hit him with his leg. It's a foul on Davion still, even though the challenge is unsuccessful. Why are we getting unsuccessful challenges in these last two games? Because Ed Malloy is sitting in fucking Secaucus watching the games and telling the refs what they need to do. In some ways, there may be a ref hierarchy. I didn't know Tony Brothers was outranked by Ed Malloy. Tony Brothers, you should have more pride and call your own damn game instead of letting Ed Malloy tell you what to do over a headset. Seriously, you've been in this league 31 years. You should know the game better than Ed Malloy far away. You have your own two eyes. You're on site. But you're going to let the skinny, bony man sitting in Secaucus jersey tell you what the fuck to call in Toronto, even though you're in fucking Toronto and he's in New Jersey? I mean, seriously, what the fuck is this? If I see Ed Malloy in the replay center, I know every single challenge call for the Raptors is going against us. Every single one. Every single one. Give every single one to the opponent and take every single one away from the Raptors. And you know what? It's subjective. They'll make up the excuse. And it's probably half of what Ed Malloy is doing. He's like, Tony, just say this. Yeah, the contact was with the shins. Yeah, the shins. Yeah. And they screw us with, we don't get the challenge later when we could probably use it. If Darko's making an educated choice to challenge a call, he has a good reason and he thinks he's going to win it. But if Ed Malloy wants to make up a reason why he doesn't and we lose the challenge, well, the challenge isn't there for us later in the game when we may need it on a 4-point play that they called for Jalen Brunson. It was absolute shite. Absolute shite. Did Davion Mitchell touch Jalen Brunson on that shot? No, he did not. He did not touch him. And they gave him a 4-point play. That's some bullshit right there. You know that's bullshit. So, yeah, a little bit of a rant right now. And I feel like a lot of people will listen to me and not think I'm some sort of crazy conspiracy theorist, some crazy ass delusional Raptors fan that's just whining and crying. No, motherfucker. I have eyes. I have a brain. I can see what the fuck y'all are doing. I see through the veil of the NBA and their script right and the way they fucking want. They don't want a team that's going to Vegas this week. The next game, the Knicks are playing the Hawks in the Vegas Cup quarterfinals. They don't want that team coming in with an L from the Raptors in Toronto. No, they have to make sure. They look at it and they plan this shit. That's the same thing for Dallas, too, last weekend, is that they don't want Dallas coming into the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup or Roddy's bullshit that they made up. So they have to make sure these teams lose. I mean, our team loses to them, even though we're on home court and we're supposed to get home court advantage. Nah, they'll screw us over. Yeah, it's messed up. And you know this is happening when you see 30-year vet refs like James Capers and Tony Brothers railroading the game like they did the last 2 games for the Raptors. I think the thing that pisses me off the most is that they had the audacity to do 2 games at home for us where we had both winnable games, where we were close and we had a chance, and they shut the door on us both times. That's the thing that pisses me off. And I can tell these guys, RJ got a question in the press conference after the game from the French interviewer. I know what that French guy asked because I do know a little bit of French. He asked him about the refs. He said something about the calls not going their way for the end of the game. And RJ did say something about it in English for a little bit. He said, yeah, the whistle was not going our way. Jacoby even mentioned it in his interview after the game, saying the whistle did not go our way in some ways. And we got to learn how to deal with that. Yeah. Because it ain't going to change probably. And we got to be that much better than a privileged ass team like the Knickerbockers. We just got to be that much better. Just like in real life. If you're a person that's not got privilege, you got to go an extra mile. You got to go and do more hoops. You got to go and build yourself up even more to bust through and get through to the good stuff and the championship. RJ said it last night. He thinks the Raptors are going to win another championship, and he wants to go get it himself. But I'm just saying, the French guy asked him, he said, to RJ, and RJ said, je ne sais pas. He said, I don't know, because he didn't want to answer that. He didn't want to answer that question because he knows, even in French, even if some people don't understand it, he can still get fined for criticizing the refs after the game. So good on you, French reporter, for asking about it, even though RJ was not going to answer. Michael Grange, you're such a turd bucket. You are such a turd bucket. Michael Grange comes at RJ and says, RJ, is it a little emotional playing your former team? Do you get a little sad? Do you get a little emotional? RJ acted like he didn't hear him. He kind of like made a look like, what the fuck is this bullshit he's coming at me with? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you with your stupid ass comment or question, Michael. Could you repeat it? And then Michael came a little bit more correct with asking it in a more respectful way. RJ, playing your former team, is it emotional? He's like, yeah. You know what? Like me? Oh, me? Is it emotional for me? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's my former team, of course. Yeah, Michael Grange with his dumbass shit. Debbie Downer kind of motherfucking energy. Yeah, RJ ain't having it. And once again, I see former Knicks, Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, not having no bullshit from the Toronto media scrum. Yeah, don't be coming at him with some stupid ass shit. You ask him the question, ask him straight up. But don't try and Debbie Downer that shit, Michael Grange, is what I'm trying to say right now. Yeah, all right, let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. I got the stars of the game, classic card, Instagram stories, all the regular stuff you expect from the Raptor Freak stream, and a reaction to, some bullshit. And I've said a lot right now already of what I want to say about it. We'll talk about the game and the things inside it also afterwards. Whoa, look at everybody filling it up. I love to see so many people in the chat. It's fantastic. All right, we'll start with Trevor J. Let's see what he's saying here. Trevor J saying, you cannot make sense to a person who only comprehends things at their own level of perception. No matter how hard you try to explain or argue, save your energy. Some people don't want to know the truth or want to think about the truth because it will ruin their reality. In some ways, a CEO or somebody who's screwing over a lot of people, they don't want to realize what their impact is in the real world terms of humans. In some ways, it's much better for them to sit in their ivory tower away from it all and not think about it or dwell on the actual fucking misery that they cause. I'm telling you right now, you could tell them what they're doing is morally wrong, but they will justify it in a way that makes sense for them and their brain to say, this is right what I'm doing. Capitalism at the highest level is making as much money as you want. And it doesn't matter the human cost or screwing over the social contract of the workers that work for you. And that's the fucked up shit, is what Trevor's saying right here. You can tell them and say, this is what's doing it. You know what, though? That's their fault. They should have been better and had more money and rose up like me to be self-made like this. It's their fucking fault. You could tell them the truth about it all, but they're going to tell the narrative that fits their ability to do this with a clear conscience and not feel like guilty about it. I'm telling you, that's the damn truth. Thank you, Trevor, for your words of wisdom. And yeah, in some ways, it all come crashing down in some sort of way if y'all don't fix it. Because seriously, people are hurting and y'all are wrong for it. You're morally wrong. You could justify it all you want in your head, but it still doesn't change the nature of things and the reality of the situation. That's what I say right there. Trevor's saying, I'm still mad this morning. These referees really screwed the Raptors game. It's like they do not care. We were watching. They slapped the fans in the face, the BS. I know. In some ways, that's part of why, all right, Cat, I get it. You're excited for winning in Toronto, but motherfucker, man, you never won in Toronto, you loser. And then you got to gloat and do that. Why do you feel like you get the ability to do this? You should be like leaving Toronto feeling like, man, we just barely got out of there with the win. Because that's honestly the truth. Even with Scotty out in the third quarter, we were still in good shape to win. And we could have won if Tony Brothers wasn't holding that door closed on us. So go ahead and feel real good and gloat and talk shit to our fans. In some ways, that's insult to the injury of Scott. And I hate that, man. In some ways, Karl-Anthony Towns, you want to be more like Big Dummy that's in Philadelphia? Well, you're going in that direction. There's a lot of people in Toronto right now that think you're an asshole. And fucking, we have not very much respect for you. And it's getting to be just like little airplane flyer Joel Embiid. Yeah, you want to mimic that Big Dummy that's in Philadelphia? Well, you did a good job last night trying to be a prick and ungracious winner in a way that, like, you know what? You weren't a rightful winner in some ways. We probably maybe would have lost still. I'm not saying that, but y'all needed the help. You definitely need the help. And in some ways, we could have let us have a chance. That's the thing that pisses me off. Give the Raptors at least a chance to shoot a shot to make the game and win. But no, James Capers and Tony Brothers don't want us to even get close. They're holding us off because we get a one-possession game. Let us take a shot to win the game. We may miss it and still lose, but you got to let us have a chance, NBA, because y'all are holding us back and not letting us get a final shot to try and win the game. You're holding us back with your referees. And it's very apparent in the last two games against the Mavericks and the Knicks that you're doing this to us. You scared that we're going to come up and win anyway? Are y'all pissed off in the head office in the NBA? That, damn, I thought we killed the Raptors. We got them to trade all their players. And we got them to they lost Nick Nurse. They're supposed to be shitty now. They're supposed to be going into the way of the Wizards. But no, they're not. They're persistent. Their front office is too good. Their coach is actually really good. And their players are busting their ass. Their spirit won't be broken. They're working their ass off on defense and doing everything right energy-wise. Maybe they're like pissed. I hate the Raptors. Why can't they just be losers? We got to manipulate the game still. We got to screw them over the refs to hold them down. It's such bullshit. Well, you know what? We're going to get smarter and better as we get older because we are young. And we're going to learn all these lessons. And we're going to be better for it. We're going to be tougher for it. And we're going to come back and win games for it. And y'all will learn in the end, referees, that all you did was pressure test us and make the Toronto Raptors team better in the long run. Young players like Jacoby Walter and Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett, they're going to come back better than ever with your harsh lessons of unfairness. I'll bring up that episode from Cobra Kai once again. They're in the city finals, and Sam LaRusso, Danielson's daughter, is in the fight, and they're fighting dirty, and the referees paid off. And they told her, you just got to beat her straight up. So there's no denying the referee is cheating and corrupt. He's going to try and call it against you. But if you beat their ass so good, they cannot deny you the victory. And that's what we have to do as a team. We have to be Sam LaRusso in that episode of Cobra Kai. That you just have to beat the crooked refs and make it undeniable that you are the victor, the winner. And the Raptors have the ability to do this over time with more knowledge and experience in the NBA. I'm telling you, it's coming. So, yeah, y'all go ahead and screw us over as much as you want right now. We're going to learn how to get around your little 5-on-8 bullshit that you're doing to us. Yeah, we're going to get around it. Trust me, we're going to get around it. Yeah, I felt like a slap to the face, too. I don't mind a competitive game. I don't mind a game where we lose. I mind a game where the referees are a factor in why we lose and they're holding us off. I mind that. That's what in 2 games in a row, really, Adam Silver, really, Ed Malloy, 2 games in a fucking row that you go railroad the Raptors to an L no matter what. I'm telling you, just give us a chance to get a clean opportunity to shoot, to make the win for ourselves on our own. Let us decide the game on the merits of our shooting and not on y'all's whistle. That's the thing that's pissing me off. That is the thing that's pissing me off. We may lose because we don't hit the shot and we're not mature and ready to win games that are close because we are a young nucleus. But at least let us determine it instead of fucking Tony Brothers and James Caper Jr. That's what I'm saying right now. Right there. That's right. Stargate saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. This is the NBA via their instructed referees telling the Raptors organization, its fans, and Canadian basketball fans, haha, we control your fate, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't believe that, so Stargate. I appreciate you being in the chat last night on Facebook, but I am not as pessimistic as you. What I just described is the way we do it. We have to be that much better and overcome it all. In some ways, we can. In some ways, we're already doing way better than we're supposed to in our rebuilding year right now. And we will get there. Trust me. I mean, Grady Dick's 20 years old. Jacoby Walter, very, very young, 20 years old. Scotty Barnes, how old is he? RJ Barrett, how old is he? Let's see how they learn these lessons and get better and better at beating the machine as well as the other team that they're facing that night. So I won't be this jaded. And yeah, they're going to say, ha, 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 we're doing this. I think a lot of it has to do with the NBA Cup. And I think it also, in particular with the Knicks last night, has to do with the Atlantic Division. In some reason, the NBA just decided the Raptors are going to have to lose the Atlantic Division more. Maybe they looked up in our rafters and saw all these Atlantic Division championships that the Raptors had won in the 2010s with DeMar and Kyle. Oh, the Raptors did dominate the Atlantic Division for a long time. Well, we can't have them continuing to do well in the Atlantic Division. Let's sewer them, put them in the bottom of it, and put them below Brooklyn, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. You know, that's part of the script writing there. It was really fishy how we got railroaded to losses in almost all the Atlantic Division games last year. We did not win an Atlantic Division game until in the very late in the season. And honestly, in some ways, they may be trying to continue this, although we have won Atlantic Division game already this year. So we're okay in the clear with that. But I'm just saying the continued losing of the Raptors to the Knicks is something that this league wants. You know, but I think we can do something about it, Stargate. That's where we differ. I think we can do something about it. And in the end, we will. Trust me, we will. We got to believe this way. It's just like in life. Just because somebody says, oh, you can't be that job or you can't do that job. Well, if you really want it and you're willing to go the extra hoops and battle and through all the bullshit that is in between you and getting that, you will get it. You know, people that are determined have done this throughout the ages. People that come from nowhere with nothing and no privilege still achieve and get it done. So that's what I say. We're going to be like that. We're going to be like that. That's right. Trevor's saying yesterday the man who killed the CEO in New York, they found him in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I was reading about this before. They caught the guy who shot the CEO. He's a kid who's a rich kid, and his family's very well off. Now, this kid is a valedictorian. This kid is a very smart kid. This kid is like got all the things in the world. So why would he do this? Because he's enlightened and he understands just how fucked up this shit is. You know, they're asking his friends, like, why? I don't understand why he would do this. I thought, why did he lose his marbles? Y'all are stupid. And you're lying to yourself. You can't understand why he did this? Seriously. Anybody who's getting interviewed on CNN or any news right now that can't understand why Luigi shot that man on the street last week, are you kidding me? You can't understand this? Is this part of the media's snowballing this whole thing and saying, well, I have no idea why he went deranged and did this. You dumbasses. Don't cover up this shit. Don't fucking talk to us like we're stupid. We understand why he did this. He did his vigilante justice. He did this. It was right in some ways what he did. In some ways, some people say, no, you're crazy like him, Lex. You're going off the deep end. No, maybe we're the ones who are right in the whole scheme of things. Like what I was talking about earlier with Trevor J's words of wisdom. Maybe we're the ones who are right. In some ways, he knows what's right. Listen, I think it's admirable what he did. He has all the money in the world. He has a life of privilege himself. But he knows what's right and wrong in this world. And he made a very, very calculated, very planned decision and did what he did. He's a hero to me, honestly. He's a hero to me because, honestly, he gave up everything for this because he knew it was right. And some people say, that's not right to murder a man in the street. Well, let's see how many people CEO murdered with his fucking bullshit with the organization and what he does with universal health care. See how many people he murdered or hurt or fucking put in the poorhouse or made them lose their house or had to make tough decisions to whether feed their kids or get medical treatment. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to say who's crazy in this one. I don't think that guy was crazy. He had a very good motive, and he is a hero in my book, honestly. And that people going to put me on a list because I said that. You fucking put me on a list, motherfucker. I don't give a shit because I believe what he did. You got to ask people around him why. I don't understand why he did it. There was no signs that he's deranged and he lost it like this. I don't think he lost it. I think he understood the truth and he understood the bullshit and he wanted to make an impact. It did something and he did. He did. I'm sad that they caught him. I'm seriously sad that they caught him. I wish he had gotten away, but they caught him yesterday, and it is what it is. It may not even be the right guy, honestly. I don't trust this shit either. Like the guy who took a shot at Trump, I think he was a patsy. They just used him, and they shot him, so he can't really say anything. So they can't really defend himself. So in some ways, sometimes if they're having a hard time finding somebody, they may just go pick a patsy and say, yeah, this is the guy, Luigi, and we're going to railroad this guy. I have no idea if this guy is actually the guy. Who knows? I don't trust this kind of bullshit. In some ways, they don't want people to think that people can get away with doing this shit. So they knew that they had to go catch somebody right away and get it done so that it kind of persuades people not to do something like this ever again. They want to make sure justice is paid in a situation like this. Well, justice was already paid when that man died in the street, if you ask me. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I mean, I don't think he's deranged. I think he's very much cognizant and knows what he did. And he did it for a very important reason. And I, in some ways, applaud him because it is a statement in this sick society that applauds CEOs that fucking make billions of dollars while people can't get medical care because they're holding this shit up. I mean, seriously, y'all don't understand why he did this? You friends and family, you dumbass pieces of shit. You should fucking wake up and look around and understand why he did this. Seriously. Monique is here. The super fan has returned to the chat. Let's see what she's saying. Thinking of you, Scotty. X-rays are negative, but still injury after injury. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Cat is annoying. Cat is kind of like Embiid for this also. Other than the unnecessary gloating that really came off really bad and poor sportsmanship, he's also a menace for hurting people because of his crazy-ass feet being all over the place and shit like that. It wasn't just Scotty that stepped on his feet. I think Kelly got mixed up with him at one point. Then they called a foul on Kelly when it was an offensive charge on Cat. Honestly, that was another one of the calls that they absolutely blew when they fucking called a foul on Kelly when it was obviously a charge because the Cat lowered his shoulder into him. Yeah, it's bullshit. That's why I'm saying refereeing in the NBA is subjective, and they'll make up any excuse to call it either way. They could call it either way. They could just make the rationale whatever they want and say, well, this is why, because Kelly's arm hit him here. Meanwhile, Cat's shoulder is hitting him here. Whatever, man. Cat's a walking disaster, too. In some ways, he looked pretty limpy himself last night where he was not doing well, limping around afterwards. In fact, they asked him after the game. It's such bullshit. They're showing his interview after the game on SportsCenter last night. He's so happy. He's like, yeah, I never won in here. It feels so good to win in here. I've never won in here. Yeah, you never won in here, you loser. And you finally did. And you gloated like a little piece of shit, honestly. You should just held your head up. But no, you got to run around, say this and this, whatever. And then like they're asking him, he's like, yeah, this was a great win. We did a good job. Yeah, y'all motherfucking got your hand held by Tony Brothers. Honestly, y'all got your hand held. I'm really happy to hear the initial reports of Scotty's is negative. That's a good sign. They're going to check with him this morning and see how he's walking on it. And they'll have updates more and more about it. Dr. Alley, the cohort friend of Josh Lewinberg, is saying that it is possible, if this is what she saw on the TV, that he may need surgery because of this. I'm hoping that's not true. In some ways, let's wish for the best. In some ways, I was hoping that Scotty's injury was more centered around his foot and not his ankle. That's usually better if it's the foot injury and not an ankle injury. So we're just going to have to see what the final results is. I know they're saying it's the ankle right now. I don't like that. It's much better if it's like the arch or the foot, because it did kind of look like that's where he got hurt, is where he landed on Cat's foot and it kind of bent and it may be his foot. But who knows? We're going to see. They're going to come out with the official word. And hopefully, this is the thing we will have to remind ourselves. Scotty Barnes has to make a certain amount of games to be involved in postseason awards. And postseason awards have something to do with him making money. So he has all the motivation in the world to be healthy and get out there, guys. So if he is able to play, he's going to play. Trust me. He's already missed so many games from the eye injury that he will not try to miss no games because of this injury. And he will be out there as soon as he can be out there because he does not have many more games he can miss before he loses his minimum for postseason awards. So this is at least something on that. Stargate saying we need a Canada version of someone like Stephen A. Smith within our mainstream Canadian basketball media, someone who's a voice loud enough that Americans pay attention to it. You mean to rant and rave like I'm doing this morning? Hell, they won't put me on. I don't want to go work for them, but I may be that guy. Seriously, you take the first 10 minutes of my stream this morning and put it on TSN, take all the bleep words out, and maybe, yeah, that would be that kind of equivalent as far as like, yeah, going off on this and saying that. But listen, it's the machine. It protects itself. There's a certain level of criticism that Jack and Matt will do about the referees, but there's a certain line they won't cross. And some of those lines I will cross. So they will never, ever put me on network television. But if they had somebody like me saying the things that I say on the channel, you know, it would brighten things up or open things up. I think that once again, people that are in the U.S. that watched the game last night, because the only NBA TV game on TV last night, they can see what happened last night. They're not, you know, if they're not for the Knicks, they can watch it with neutral eyes and they can see what happened last night. They can. They may have came across a couple things and be like, wow, Scotty's an interesting player. He's really grown. RJ's playing way better in Toronto. Those Raptors rookies look really good. And wow, the Raptors are competing very well, and they're actually a very good team. That's probably what most general NBA fans in the U.S. came across from our impression last night. And then they probably also saw how the referees did us wrong in the fourth quarter. So it's like the secret's out. And knowledgeable NBA fans can go look at it. The New York fans can delude themselves and say, oh, this is, we did it on our own merits. We're such a good team. I will give you guys this. Y'all have more playoff experience. Y'all have more experience as a team. And collectively, most of you guys have played together for longer. But, you know, let's not get it twisted. In some ways, y'all know how to close the game better than us. That's true. That's true. But y'all did get help from the refs. Don't kid yourself on that. You know you did. You know you did. That RJ play should have been a continuation. You know deep in your heart it did. If it was him in that orange and blue jersey still, you'd be pissed off that the referee stole a made basket and probably an and one situation where he would make the free throws also. That's 3 points wiped from the Raptors side. And then they give an extra point to your point guard for a phantom foul on a 3-point shot. That should not have been a 4-point play. So that's 4-point swing right there. It's a 5-point game. You fix things up a little bit and boom, it's a different game completely. So don't feel too proud, Knicks Nation. Seriously, if you come in here at me, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. So come talk to me, Knicks Nation. I want to go off on a Knicks fan right now. You want in here, a Knicks fan? Subscribe so I can go off on you. Come on in, Knicks fan. I want to talk to you. Yeah, Monique saying Cat is a bitch. Yeah, straight up. You know what? You're getting a dunk for this, Monique. I don't often hear you call people bitches, but Monique is calling Cat a bitch right now. And I am not disagreeing with her. In fact, I'm giving her a 10-pointer for that. 240 from Monique on the dunk charts for calling Cat out as a bitch. Yeah, man, you don't need to be a villain, Karl Anthony Towns, but I guess you do need to be a villain. So you go ahead and go in that Joel Embiid category right now. Yeah, Scotty's hurt because of your stupid ass, big, gangly, dumbass legs, and you're gloating after the game. You motherfucker. You motherfucker, Karl Anthony Towns. You motherfucker. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Tuesday. Yesterday was yet another masterclass on how to prevent the rebuilding Raptors to beat the glorious Knicks. Great job, referees. Very ethical and fair. Trash. Yeah. I mean, I've covered this pretty extensively already in this stream. I do not need to go into this more detail unless you guys want to point out specific parts of the game that you want to talk about where there's more manipulation that I didn't bring up yet. Yeah, we can talk about whatever. We can talk about whatever with this. This is exactly right, MJ. Good to see you this morning. Stargate saying, we have a bunch of nice guys up here in our basketball media who are afraid to challenge anything and always try to be politically correct, like them, but they are too soft. Jones, Eric, Sherm, etc. Well, in some ways, they're at the mercy of having their jobs, right? And they're in the machine. It's Bell and Rogers that employ them. And these are corporate overlords in Canada. You know, that's part of the problem. Once again, corporations are the worst. They're the evilness in this world right now. And in some ways, if they control the media, they control the narrative. They control the talk. And in some ways, it's like, look, Rogers and Bell, they want to make money. That's what they want to do. That's their biggest thing that they care about. They don't necessarily care if we win. They care if we make money. They want to be invited to the party, which is the NBA and the MLB. But in some ways, if the team is there and competing and the people are still buying tickets and merchandising, Leafs and Raptors and Blue Jays, that's what matters the most. The NBA will hold us off from trying to win stuff, probably. But in some ways, it's like that's okay as long as they're getting their bottom line. That's the thing. The other thing is that these guys can't do what I do. They can't fucking shit on the hand that feeds them. In some ways, I'm not getting fed by them, so I don't care. I'll tell the truth, and that's the difference right there. Those guys could say some, and I'm really proud of Matt and Jack for being like this. Some Knicks fans were complaining last night that Jack's whining about the calls. Motherfucker, this is a real thing. And it's not that Jack's a homer. In some ways, he calls it very much down the line. If he sees it, he sees it. He's not likely to complain about the refs, honestly. That's not Jack Armstrong. Now, Matt may complain about the refs a bit. He does it more often. But when Jack Armstrong is actually complaining about the refs, it's serious and it's real because he doesn't do that facetiously. Jack Armstrong doesn't like using the excuse that the referees are the problem, Knicks fans. So if Jack Armstrong's saying something about the refs, he's right because he's a coach and he doesn't do this excuse. He believes that you should make excuses and blame the officials. So why is he actually blaming the officials to a degree in what happened last night? Because it's a legitimate complaint. It's a legitimate complaint. He's not just blowing hot air or being a little whiny bitch. No, he's for real. And he sees that. He sees that. That's right. He sees that. All right, let's keep going. Monique is saying RJ Barrett got his 7th 30-point game of the season. All right, we're going to do the stars of the game. Let's do that. And Trevor's saying referees had to stop RJ's win against his old team. Well, that's another factor of this whole thing. In some ways, the RJ for OG trade is a big deal. A lot of people are going to gauge it. Who won the trade? And in some ways, New York and the NBA really wants it to look like that New York won the trade no matter what. Now, if Emmanuel had been healthy last night and playing for us, I think it would have been like, wow, these guys really did well with this trade, Toronto. A lot of people in the narrative is, and this is what Kate Burness was saying last night, that it seems like the trade was a win-win for both teams and stuff like that. Well, in some ways, the NBA wants to show that New York's going to beat Toronto no matter what after this trade because that's the narrative they want to write. So that trade does matter. The switch of OG and RJ, in some ways, they don't want it to look like the Raptors won the trade by winning the games. I'll say this also. The Raptors actually match up really well with the Knicks. And you know what? We have their number. If it's a fair playing field and we're completely healthy, we kick the Knicks' ass. And I'm hoping to see we beat them this year. Now, I'm going to say this right now. We play the Knicks 4 times this season. If we lose every single game against them, and there's more games like this one, like last night, it's completely a season series ref hit job by the NBA on the Raptors against the Knicks. Seriously. And I wouldn't put it past them. They've done these hit jobs a lot recently in the last 2 years. And boy, we got 2 right in a row against the Mavericks and New York. Crazy. All right, let me do the stars of the game. We'll go on a positive note. My number 1 star is RJ. I would give them 5 stars, but there wasn't a good enough performances across the team from last night. But RJ's number 1 star. He was fantastic. 13 and 24. He really was taking it to his old team. And I got to figure that Knicks fans watching RJ against them last night, some of them were rooting for him because they love him still. And he's a fan favorite. A lot of Knicks fans still. Some of them were like, where was this when he played for us? Oh, he's making layups now. It's weird. Some of them really hate RJ. And they're like, why wouldn't he play like this when he played for us? Is some of the stuff they're saying. I'm proud of RJ for showing up and having a huge game against his former team. In some ways, I would say he's the best player on the court last night. Seriously, I don't think it was Cat. I don't think it was Jalen Brunson. I think it was RJ. RJ was the most dominant, best player on the court last night. 13 at 24 from the field. That's efficient as hell. Knicks fans were probably like, why couldn't he shoot for us like that over 500 and shoot so well like that? 3 for 7 from 3. He had some very key threes last night. The thing I really loved about RJ last night was he was masterful with his passing last night. He really, really was making incredible decisions through the middle of the game, distributing to his teammates in a very effective way where they were getting good, easy scores, whether it's a Grady Dick 3 or dumping it to Jakob for an easy little push shot. There was a lot of stuff that RJ was doing with drive and kick and different things. He was just making very good decisions. His playmaking was off the charts last night. It really, really was. 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 30 points for RJ, a +4 in the losing game with 37 minutes. Yeah, RJ Barrett, number one star for sure out of both teams. I'm saying that right now. He was the best player on the court out of anybody. My second star of the game is the rookie, Jacoby Walter. He had his career high off the bench, and he looked fantastic. He had such poise and confidence. He was operating in very, very smart ways, smart decisions, not selling for outside shot. I get mad at Scott because he was taking lazy threes and not trying to work it inside. He'd come up and just take a lazy three. Meanwhile, Jacoby, he's more likely to be a mature decision, like going in and getting an easier high percentage shot by coming in closer. And I love that. And he's also showing really good chops. Like that pass to RJ for the alley-oop was crazy. After the game, Jacoby described it as, it got away from me. It actually slipped out of my hand, and I threw it higher than I wanted to. And RJ actually went up and got it. I mean, that was one of the most sensational alley-oops in Raptors history, honestly. It's been a couple of them recently involving RJ, either passing or throwing it down himself. He really did get up there to catch that one. And that was an amazing athletic feat because Knicks were nearby, and he had to get up there. He was probably about a foot or two above the rim to get up there to get that ball. And that was insanely good. But yeah, Jacoby also really talking about after the game his rebounding and how he has a nose for the ball, and he really likes to fight and get in there and get rebounds. And he was showing that last night. 6 of 12, 50% shooting for a rook, 3 of 7 from 3, 4 of 5 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 2 assists, -10, 19 points in 22 minutes. Fantastic career night for Jacoby. He got the after game interview. He's poised. He's on his way. I mean, I'm so shocked at how advanced Jacoby is for his setbacks of missing training camp, being hurt a lot this season already, and that he's already at this point. The future is so bright for this kid. And like I said, this kid has a nose for scoring. He's got that attack the rim. He's got the midi. He's got the outside. He's got a lot of different ways that he can score. And these guys are understanding, like RJ said after the game, Jacoby's three is going to go in more and more. We're dependent on it. And it looks really sound fundamentally. So kudos to you, Rook. You had a fantastic game last night. We're proud of you. My third star of the game is the ever steady Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, I want to give Poeltl a shine in every kind of way if I can. And he got a double-double last night once again. 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 6 offensive rebounds, 12 rebounds altogether, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, a +10, the highest plus minus on our team last night. 10 points, 12 rebounds, double-double again for Yak. In some ways, maybe we need to score more with him. But, he's just in there battling. He's fighting. There's some unfair stuff happening, and he's in there trying to keep things organized and kind of calling people out. I'm really shocked that Tony Brothers stopped the game to go look at whether Jakob got kicked in the nuts by Cat. Like, in some ways, I'd never seen that before. It's like, he's pointing him and he's like, Tony, he kicked me in the nuts. He's like, really? He's like, I guess Yak has a reputation where he's reliable and not lying. So Tony Brothers actually stopped the game and went and looked at it. And he did see that he did kick him in the nuts. So he called the flagrant. That was the right call. I mean, that's the thing. They showed all the right kind of stuff, and they favored us in the first half, but they really changed it in the second half. And that is all by script. That is all determined ahead of time. They probably tell them before the game, Tony, you're going to favor the Raptors for the first half, but close the deal and help the Knicks win for sure by the end of it. And you show favor for the Raptors early so that you can say that you can say you're not biased and that you showed favorable calls for them early in the game. It really is a tale of two halves in that way when they can do this. I've seen the refs do this many games in the past where they will definitely favor one team one half and they'll favor the other team to balance it out, all in the name of that. And so, honestly, we should have a red flag up if the Raptors are getting very favorable calls early in a game, because it could very well be the referees are planning to screw them over in the second half and give all the favorable calls to the other team to balance it out. It's really, really bad. Yeah, we'll go over some more of the Raptors in the box score in just a second. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Mo's saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew, by the way. Good morning to you, Monique. I hope you're doing very, very well. And I know it was tough not to go to the game last night, but it's good that you got rest, and it was fun to have you in the chat last night. Very active chat. And it was cool to see other people coming in there like Stargate and David during the game last night talking to us. Let's see. Most saying Raptors keep playing really impressive basketball despite how shorthanded they've been. want some W's, obviously, but they've had an uphill battle the whole way. I'm kind of pissed partly that we lost last night and Saturday because we had a 5-game homestand and we went 2-3 during it. Now, I can take the Oklahoma City loss. That was a real loss, and they were the way better team, and they did a really good job. And we closed the game to make it closer and tighter by the end of it, but they did rout us. But the Mavericks game and the Knicks game were both absolutely tainted by the refs. And in some ways, that pisses me off because in some ways, I want to be winning. And if we have a 5-game homestand that's really very good for winning, although the competition is very high level, I would have loved to have been 3-2 after this. So I feel like 2 of these games getting stolen from us. I feel a little robbed about it. That's right. Fiercely saying, agree with Stargate. We need a loud representative pro Raptors vocal calling out the BS. I know. In some ways, we've always lacked this. I don't know who could be this in this way, in the right way, because a lot of the people that cover the Raptors are journalists, are people that are supposed to be down the middle and not biased. But they have been more and more Homer, which is great. In some ways, the Raptors journalists from a lot of the 30 years we've had our team have tried to be down the middle and even very unfair to our team in another way. And other teams would have such Homer coverage that we wouldn't have that. I know that Chuck Swirsky at times would be very Homer when he was calling it, but there were times where Leo Routens was very down the line and very, very not showing favor for the Raptors. In recent years, because the fans have had more respect like us, and we are like, yeah, respect our team, be more positive about it. Our media has changed. They are watching out. They can't just put down our team blanketly in the intros and halftime shows like they used to. They really used to kick us while we're down. And it did teach very bad self-respect for our fan nation. Why should we care about ourselves? The media kicks us while we're down too. So at least we've made progress with this. And this channel existing is part of it. I don't know. In some ways, there may never be a mainstream on television voice like this, but at least I'm here in this capacity on a YouTube channel. But yeah, I don't know. Who would this be? This would be like a Don Cherry type, right, guys? This is what you're talking about. You want a fiery, outspoken, opinionated person that's for the home team, that is willing to say shit that's a little controversial, but they can't get fined by the NBA. So go ahead and say it. I mean, sometimes I hear Leo and Jack doing this at this point. And Matt even too. Alvin may say a little bit of too. But that's the thing. We just need these guys to be more voices like this and be fair and call it like we're smart fans. We can see it. We can see what happened last night. Let's not talk down to us like we're stupid. You just call it like you see it, Jack, like you did last night. And I appreciate that for you because Jack is calling it pretty fair and what he's saying, he's seeing out there. He's not trying to hide it. He's saying the ref calls are very biased right now. He said it. He said it during the game. I don't know. We need a pundit. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see who that person might be. But yeah, people like Eric Smith, Paul Jones, Sherman Hamilton, they got to follow company line. And it used to be on Raptors Tonight. Maybe they could get a little bit into that kind of stuff in that setting with Randy Urban, and maybe a little bit. But in some ways, who knows? Maybe there's a memo written. Maybe in some ways they're like, yeah, we can't kind of question the integrity of the refereeing and the officials of the NBA too much because it does taint the product and makes people think more the truth, which is actually what's happening. They got to think about that, All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Isaac saying, then right, the NBA change is not going to come from the commentators. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think change will ever come in some ways. I think this league is fucked up in a lot of different ways, whether it's the superstar golden boy system, whether it's the new found betting around the league that has all kinds of influence on the download that we don't realize. There's narratives and there's media writing. Like Terrence Ross told me on his Twitch one day, he's retired. He's at home playing video games. The NBA is entertainment. And in some ways, they do shape the product for them to make more money. That's why Bronny's on the forefront, even though he doesn't deserve it. That's why certain teams get more coverage, even though they probably don't deserve it, like the Lakers have in the last few years. It's just that in some ways, the almighty dollar ruins things. And it really doesn't give you a pure competition because there's favor in certain ways because of money concerns. And that's what I say about that right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. G saying, can anyone find the last 2-minute report for the Raptors versus Dallas on December the 7th? It's the only date on the NBA website with no reports for some reason. Yeah, I went and looked at it after I saw your comment earlier, and I didn't find it either. Yeah, that's fishy as fuck. I mean, why even have the last 2-minute reports, NBA? It's not like you change anything because of them. You basically kind of show, yeah, you should be infuriated that we did a bad job and got it wrong. And we'll admit that we got it wrong, but it's not like we have a system to change the outcome or make it okay. It's so infuriating when the Raptors get screwed over by the refs and then they come out with a 2-minute report and saying that they screwed us over. And it's like, yeah, we did get that call wrong. Oh, well, the game doesn't change. So in some ways, I've always thought the last 2-minute reports were kind of bullshit. You know what I liken them to? A police report. Just like a policeman comes for a certain thing, they're going to write whatever bullshit that's favorable for them in the light, even though they may have bounced a man's head off the concrete and they covered it up. That's the bullshit right there, man. That's the bullshit right there. It's like the last 2-minute report might as well be a police report that's convoluted and what the police want to report about a situation that they had to respond to. Same kind of shit, same action, honestly. Same action. They can write in whatever they want to justify whatever they want. It's so crazy. All right, let's see. Stargate saying, yes, Fiercey, Lex does his part and tries his best, but unfortunately, he doesn't have the influence that is needed for something like this. We need a Canadian Stephen A. Smith type personality. You may be shocked, honestly, that how much more influence this channel has than you think. They do listen to us. In some ways, like I said, this is a very free marketing. This is free feedback from Raptors fans for the MLSE, the Raptors, and the NBA. Even that the media channels, they probably listen to us. TSN, Sportsnet. Some of their commentators, some of their sound bites are similar to what I say. But I know that it's common because that's just the thing to say. I mean, it's weird. We'll be sitting watching the game, and Adriana will look at me and be like, "How did you know what they were going to say?" Like, what happened last night when Jalen Brunson got those free throws that he did not deserve. Matt he missed them, and Matt Devlin said, "Ball don't lie." Well, I had said "ball don't lie" in the chat a minute before Matt Devlin actually said it. I don't even know. Maybe the producers have our chat up. Like one of our people in the Raptor Freak chat is actually somebody with the TV networks, and they're using our commentary in the chat because they sometimes mirror exactly what we're saying in the chat. Have you noticed that? It's weird. It may be just that great minds think alike. It may just be coincidence. Maybe that I've just watched so many damn Raptors games. I know what Matt and Jack are going to say because I often say it. Like I'll call plays before I'm like jump ball. And Adriana looks at me. How do you know that? Because I know basketball and I can see the play. And before the referee actually makes a call, I can call it in that, I do have a lot of experience with that. But don't get it twisted, Stargate. You may be shocked just how much the little butterfly effect ripples come from this channel and affect things. It's just like even something like this flag behind me. I think that some people may have came up with the idea we should make a Vince Carter logo with the Raptor in his place. I remember talking about this shit before they designed it and built it. We shape ideas for the team. We're a customer card feedback like at McDonald's, but for free. So they be smart to come in here and listen to us because in some ways they learn what we like, and hell, they might even do it and make it happen in some ways, So it's an interesting thing. You may be shocked just how much, you guys listen to me and you go talk to other people. They talk to other people. It balloons out. It goes out. And there can be more thought that is shared than you actually think. Now, I don't want to ever be mainstream or official. In some ways, I like where I'm at because I can be exactly who I am, purely myself and not under the guise of any corporate overlords that are going to tell me what I can and can't say. So in some ways, you'd be shocked, honestly, how much they may actually hear us. You may be shocked. G saying Tim Donahue said the league doesn't want the Raptors to win another chip. In this case, I believe him because he is corrupt and he has nothing to gain saying that. It's frustrating. Team Donaghy. Yeah, Donaghy is the betting scandal ref that got exiled, and the Patsy, the guy who's the fall guy. He's not the only one. He was the one who took all the blame, though. And, they came out with a report recently with all the more parlays and the betting that's going on. They very much are expecting another referee betting scandal in the NBA in the near future. That this is just inevitable. That, the greed and the thing around it, somebody's going to get compromised by organized crime, just like Tim Donaghy was back then. And it's going to happen all over again. I think that the prevalence of the gambling around it, even though it's legalized now, will just be too much like that. I think that this is what happened at halftime. That's hilarious. All right, this is what happened at halftime last night. Jalen Brunson got a call for him that was absolutely not warranted. In fact, I just referenced it. They went to the replay center, and Ed Malloy said, yeah, it's a foul. Put Brunson on the line. Well, what happened was we were above the Knicks by 1 point at that point. Scotty had put us above with a really good basket. And Jalen went to the line to beat us. Well, that's a parlay right there. That's a bet. The Knicks will have the lead at halftime. Well, what happened was Brunson missed both the free throws, and they did not take the lead at halftime. So that may have screwed up some betting for people last night, that the Knicks did not have the lead at the half. I'm just saying, in some ways, they could be manipulating on that level to that point, because it was very evident that Ed Malloy in the replay center directed Tony Brothers to put Jalen Brunson on the line at the end of the half. But he missed both the free throws and he screwed up the parlays. Woohoo, sweet karma. Sweet, sweet karma in that whole situation. In fact, I was laughing about that because I knew that's exactly what was happening there. That people are such degenerates that they're not even going to bet just on the end of the game. They'll bet on who's winning at half. And because the Raptors were up by 1, that might have screwed up a whole bunch of people's betting. And Ed Malloy screwed up because they had to count on Jalen Brunson to make at least one of the free throws, but he missed both of them. And the Raptors were leading at half. You think I'm crazy saying that? I think that is very true, what I just said right there. Smooth saying amazing effort yet again, not getting the whistle as usual. That's right. That's right, Smooth. You know what? I can't get mad at our guys. They're busting their ass and they're doing it right. In some ways, they're playing the NBA. Pinch yourself. And don't get jaded by this. Don't believe you can't win again. I love that RJ said he wants to win a championship in Toronto afterwards. Even if Tim Donaghy says the NBA won't want us to ever. That's what I'm saying. Do people want RJ Barrett to make his left-handed layups around them with 2 or 3 guys crowding him? No, they don't. But he goes and makes them anyway. So that's how we need to be about it as a team, as a franchise, and going to get our second Larry O'Brien. It doesn't matter what they want. It's what we're going to go do is what I'm saying right now. That's right. It's coming. It's coming because our guys, we've done such a good job. And like people are saying and giving kudos to our front office once again, because they see the rookie class we got this year. The Masai and Bobby are very good at their job. And they are going to build a team that's going to win no matter what. And these motherfuckers can try and turn us into Washington Wizards North, but it ain't going to fucking happen while Masai's on watch. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it's not. No, it is not. There you go. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and the crew. Kaz, hopefully you got that good checkout yesterday at the dentist and everything's good and good and good. No cavities. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying Brunson's so annoying, blaming the fan seated curtsy when he stepped on a fan's foot. Yeah, I saw that play at the end. He got tripped up and he looked a little gimpy afterwards. I'm sorry, limpy, I should say. You know what happened was Tony went and looked at it afterwards in the replay. I think he wanted to check and see if the fan was actually like illegal contact where they could get in trouble. You know, this is a episode in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David has his legs stretch out at courtside at the Laker game, and he trips Shaquille O'Neal, and he gets hurt, and he can't go into the game. You know, this can be something that happens where fans interfere with games, just like in the World Series with that Yankees fan that took the ball out of the player's mitt at the wall. Well, in some ways, we don't want to have one of our fans trying to trip Jalen Brunson. Maybe he's trying to get a little get back for Scotty and Karl Anthony Towns. But yeah, I think Tony Brothers went to look at it, review it to see if there was any criminal intention by the fan to injure an NBA player, a golden boy named Jalen Brunson. Yeah, very, very interesting. Most saying great battle by our guys. Wasn't a big fan of that play that Darko drew up after the timeout. Have to learn how to close out a game and take care of the ball. Yeah, there's been a couple problems. And you're right, Mo, we didn't agree the other day about the comparison between 905 and the Raptors game, but I do this one. Because the game we went to on Sunday, right at the end, remember, Mo, there was a 5-second call where the Raptors 905 did not get the ball inbounded against the Westchester Knicks, and they had a turnover with the last seconds of the game. It was really, really bad. It was really inexperienced. In some ways, Drew Jones was trying to call the timeout to save it, but they didn't listen to them. And the referees on Sunday just said, no, 5-second violation. It's Knicks ball. And it absolutely killed the end of the game. Well, we had something similar to that where the Raptors choked at the end of the game and messed up with a turnover. You know, I think it was Jacoby stepped out of bounds or something at one point, something like that. It's too bad. Like execution of a young, inexperienced team like this is where we learn. This is where we get better, and we clean up those mistakes. So in the future, when we're in these situations, we do it right way. We can't blame ourselves. We're playing rookies, very extensive rotation minutes, and they're gonna make rookie mistakes. They're gonna make rookie mistakes, and that burned us at the end of the game last night. We had an opportunity, but we turned the ball over right at the end when we were trying to get our last shot. And execution at the end of the game, yes, the Knicks executed better. We'll give them that, but so did the referees. They executed better too. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Infamous is saying, salute, freaks. After watching multiple games with Tony Brothers, I will say this without question. When he refs a game, there's always some bullshit. The one thing I will say about it, though, is sometimes the bullshit's in your favor. He historically does not like the Knicks, but in this situation, he had a script that he had to follow. And once again, the hierarchy is the crew chief is the guy in charge at the court, but the guy who's in the replay center is actually in charge. And Ed Malloy was in the replay center last night, so he's telling Tony what to do. In some ways, it's not totally Tony's fault. In fact, when he was answering on the mic and telling us the explanation for some of the calls, he's doing it reluctantly. He didn't even sound like he liked what he was saying, and that Ed Malloy was telling him what to fucking say. Ah, man. See, that's the problem right there. In some ways, there's a ref hierarchy. And Ed Malloy, he very much ref manipulated us from New Jersey 2 games in a row just now. And I know it, Ed. I'm paying attention. I know it's you, man. I know it's you motherfucker. And you're not even ref the game for the Raptors yet this year. And you've already hit job us twice. 2 in a row just recently, man. 2 in a row just recently. G saying, I was pleasantly surprised by some Knicks fans. Went into a live and Knicks fans were sending prayers to Scotty. Also, some are saying that if Scotty was healthy and didn't have refs help, may have lost. For sure. And those are real Knicks fans that actually understand reality. And they're, in some ways, they're better fans because if they really love their team and they want to win championship, they don't want to be handheld. And they were looking for all the things they have to clean up and get better. And in some ways, I know a lot of Knicks fans weren't happy with this win last night because they know they just barely got it by the skin of their teeth. And in some ways, these are areas where they can see, all right, we got by, but we shouldn't be too proud. And we have a lot to work on still. I mean, thank you, Raptors, for showing us some of our weaknesses and things we need to help work on before the end of the year in the postseason, because we may be in trouble if we don't. So, those are good Knicks fans, and they're longtime basketball fans that can see the truth in it and be honest with themselves. So yeah, good win for y'all. I would say, you deserve that win for fans that can be real with this way. And especially thank you for praying for our guy Scott, because nobody likes to see anybody get hurt like that and be out. Nobody does. Jacoby saying, yeah, it's tough to see if one of our guys go out like that, but next man up, and we're going to be ready and we're going to come out there and keep fighting, no matter what. And Scotty goes out, well, the next people have to step up and do their best. That's what happens. That's right. That's right. Jimmy's saying everything about last night sucked. Yeah. In some ways, I wanted to enjoy the game, have a competitive game, even if we just lost barely, but it was because the Knicks did it. I wouldn't be mad, but the referee factor pisses me off. And then Cat gloating on top of it pisses me off doubly on top of it. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, that's the way I look at it right there. Kaz is saying, Cat is a clown. He should be fined for swearing on TV. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Why are you swearing at little kids in Toronto, bro? Seriously, what did we do to you, man? We caused that much turmoil for you over your career so far because you never won in the 4-1-6 still last night. I mean, that really is what it is. He was so jubilant and happy because he never felt the feelings of winning in the Scotiabank Arena until last night. That he had never won against us in Toronto when he was on the Timberwolves. And that's the truth. That's part of the reason why he acted like that. Ken A saying the refs gave them the game. 2-minute report will show that. If they release it, we don't even know if they'll release it, Ken A, original Raptor Freak. Good to see you, my guy. Been here on the whole 3-year journey of my odyssey on this channel. Ken A was one of my first subscribes. Yeah, they did give him the game, but I don't know if we'll get the details because the 2-minute reports are not coming out all the time. They pick and choose when they want to release them. Seymour saying, live and learn. That's right. That's right. Live and learn in your life and get better. You get better. That's right. Stargate saying at Lex, but this hasn't only happened to us when playing so-called Golden Boy teams. We have seen this shit against garbage teams like Charlotte, Portland, DC. So it ain't just Golden Boy teams. All right, Stargate, I'm going to say this right now. I understand you're very pessimistic about this, but what is the whole point of doing what we do if we don't have hope? In some ways, Seymour Pape used to say to me, "Is you saying there's still a chance?" That's what we need to understand still. If we didn't say there's no possible way that we'll ever win a championship again, well, then what the fuck am I doing getting up at 9:30 in the morning every morning? So I gotta believe, man. I'm sorry. Now I don't totally agree with what you're saying here. Some of the games, like the game against Charlotte, was a little fucked up, sure. But some of these other games, we are good enough to overcome 8 versus 5, and we have. And well, it's just the learning curve. We're going to beat the Wizards close sooner than we're going to beat the Knicks. So we continue to beat the teams, each of the teams from the bottom up. And as we get better and better and better up the escalator in the NBA, we're beating more of the top teams along with the bottom teams. And we just do that. That's what we got to do over time. We just got to get that good. We have to be that much better than everybody. And that's what people in this world that don't have privilege have to do in their lives. If they want to be better, well, they got to beat the people that all the advantages handed to them. You got to go through it all. That's just how it is. It's an unfair world. And in some ways, sometimes the people that have to go through it all that don't have the advantages, they are better for it and they get it more earned and they are more badass and stronger for it. The people that get it handed to them, I'm telling you, like the Knicks last night, the Lakers, and to a degree, the Celtics last season. Yeah, they're not as battle tested and pressure treated as it seems like we will be in the end. And that's what you got to believe right there. That's what you got to believe. G saying top 3 players that drive to the net: Giannis, AD, RJ. NBA free throw attempts: Giannis number 1, AD, which makes sense. RJ is 15th, which makes no sense. The one thing I will say is RJ is so clean and good. Sometimes he gets through and he doesn't get any contact because he's so good at beating them and getting through. But we know this is not the case on every single play, that he is getting people smacking him on the arms and him bringing the ball across, maybe hitting him on the shoulder, bumping him. But he's so strong and he finishes. Jacoby said this in the game after the game last night. He says that he can't play for the whistle. We have to play hard and execute and make it. That's all we got to do. He gets it. He just showed up in the NBA. He gets it. In some ways, Scotty didn't get this right away when he started as a rookie in the NBA. He whined and cried for the foul, and he never got it. In some ways, Scotty, you just got to be that strong to finish and make the basket and not depend on the whistle bailing you out. There was that one play where Tony Brothers bailed them out when there was a missed layup and Jack Armstrong went off. I say, why the late whistle? So you waited to see whether the ball went in, and then you called a foul to give them scoring opportunity at the free throw line because he actually blew the layup. That's totally true. That was a ref manipulation. And Jack Armstrong, being on TV, called it out, and he was exactly right. Exactly right. That should not have been free throws because you didn't call a foul until you saw it missed, Tony Brothers. It's crazy. Yeah, gee, that list right there is RJ's top 3 in drives to the net, but he's in 15th for free throws attempted. Yeah, that's messed up. And I don't know why, in particular, RJ is absolutely the person that they are absolutely ignoring and not paying any attention to in the U.S. In some ways, they hate the fact that the Canadian guy went home and he's playing really good for his Canadian team. They really, really hate it. Because the NBA media is slighting him by saying, oh, the Raptors' big 3 coming up is Scotty, Emmanuel, and Grady. They're not even paying attention to RJ on purpose. RJ don't care. He don't need y'all. He don't need y'all to shine a light. He's going to do what he's going to do anyway because he's like that. He's a badass. You don't need y'all's kudos. You don't need y'all to do this shit. He's going to come through in the end and get it all anyway, against your will, against what you want. So you go ahead and ignore him. You go ahead and slight him. You go ahead and not give him free throw attempts. He's going to be the truth in the end. Y'all will see it. The whole world will see it in the end. That's right. That's right. Carlos saying the only team that's legit scary is OKC, Dallas, Knicks, Celtics. We took them down the line. Yeah, OKC is real. Boston is real. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are real. Those are the only 3 teams I've seen this year that are legitimate championship contenders that I would say are badass teams. The Celtics are the incumbents. They won last year. They are the champions still, and they have the ability to possibly repeat this year. And we've seen them. We almost beat them in overtime. They needed help to beat us. So in some ways, they're not as good as Cleveland and Oklahoma City as far as I'm concerned. But seeing the teams we've seen so far this year, I would say that Oklahoma City is number 1, Cleveland's number 2, and Boston's number 3. And I wouldn't put Dallas and New York in the same category as those 3 teams I just named. No, I wouldn't. That's right. Jimmy's saying, gee, we all know why. We all know why. That's right. He went home, and he's Canadian on the Canadian team, and he's not in New York anymore in that market. It may be very interesting to look at the free throw attempts percentage of how often he'd get free throw attempts with the Knicks compared to how he's doing it on the Raptors now. It may be very interesting to see that. It could very well be explaining exactly what it is. And then in the inverse, go look at OG. Go look at OG's free throw attempts as a Raptor, and then go see how much he's increased since he's been on the Knicks. I'm telling you, there's a lot of evidence and stats collected for the NBA that you can just go look at, and you can probably see a very, very substantial evidence for the allegations that we put on the NBA refs and how they handle things. Seriously, we can go find the dirty gun, the dirty knife, or whatever they're doing. It's all in the stat sheet. It's on Basketball Reference. That's right. Seymour's saying that's insane. G, man's getting robbed. You know what? He's not going to complain. He's going to keep his head down. He's going to keep doing what he does to try and win anyway. In fact, in some ways, that makes RJ more of a badass. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go into a barroom fight against 20 guys by myself, and I'm going to kick their ass anyway. That's what RJ's like. Seriously, he's like that. And that's why I love him so much. And that's why Toronto, Canada fans, we need to all support our Canadian guy because he's not getting the proper love from the NBA in general. So we definitely need to give him the love up here because he's doing it for us. He's doing it for our city, and he's doing it badass. And he's not going half speed. This man's going full tilt, and he's taking it to them every single time. I never question whether RJ is not giving it at all when he's on that court. You can tell that man's giving it all every single time he's on the court. Every single time. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Jimmy G saying, Jimmy, I hate doing the league. I hate doing the league doesn't want us to win thing, but it's getting harder and harder to not believe that. Yeah, in some ways, this is the thing. We're up against it. Darko, RJ, Scotty, Emmanuel, y'all just need to overcome it. We can. The ability is there. 2019 happened. And maybe it made it harder for us to ever get there again because they don't want to see it again. But who knows? You got to believe. And you got to believe that if we're excellent enough and we play perfect enough and we play so good that we will be able to beat 8 versus 5 and the league mandate that the Raptors should never win a championship again on the down low. Seriously, we're going to beat that. I believe it. Masai said it himself. This city's too good. This organization's too good. The Raptors will win another Larry O'Brien eventually. It will happen again. Trust me, it will. It will. In some ways, we worry because we look at something like the Jays. The Jays win 2 championships in the 90s, and they really haven't gotten that close. In some ways, because of the American League East and the structure of the MLB and the way they did playoffs. And in some ways, being in the same division with the juggernauts like the Yankees and the Red Sox, who are able to spend whatever they want, it has been unfair. I think that the Blue Jays situation is much more unfair than the Raptors, just so y'all know. So in some ways, we have a better chance of winning again than the Blue Jays. But yeah, seeing how long it's taken the Blue Jays to even get anywhere near and still haven't gotten anywhere near the World Series, it's a little troubling and scary because it's been 30 years since the Blue Jays won. And we want the Raptors to get back in that Larry O'Brien sooner than 30 years, obviously. Obviously, that's right. All right, let's keep going. Stargate saying, Kenne, 30-minute report means absolutely nothing. It's inconsequential and accomplishes nothing. Yeah, I know. In some ways, it's a thumb nose to your face. In some ways, it's kind of F you. It's kind of like, yeah, well, we did mess it up, but who cares? We're not changing anything. There's been a couple games that we should have had W's. It would have changed that much a swing in the game. But they're like, yeah, we can't go back and change it. We're not changing the standings. We're not going to hand you a win and take a win away from the team that we gave the win to. No, they never do that. In Sacramento, years ago, Mark Davis screwed us over. Then they admitted that Mark Davis made a mistake. They never changed anything, and there was no recouping for that. That's the part of the problem. There's no accountability in this society in certain places. And in some ways, the NBA has no accountability for itself and its corruption. And, the government of the United States is going to be more and more like that. There's going to be no accountability for corruption, honestly. And it's sad. It's sad. It's messed up. Jimmy saying our 2 highest money makers are on the bench and Cat acting out of pocket doing all that. Not to mention the refs sucking off New York, laughing my ass off. I know. I mean, yeah, you could say that. And when Scotty went out, Emmanuel and him are the highest paid players on the Raptors. And, yeah, that's just the truth. That's just the truth. It's funny. Blake Murphy tweeted this, that Tony Brothers is going to have Bruce Brown doing a Yosemite Sam impersonation soon. He's getting really mad at the calls. The other person that was annoying me last night was Mikal Bridges. He was talking a lot of shit to our bench. I think it was specifically at Bruce Brown, maybe a little bit at Garrett Temple, because they're former teammates of his. But he was really gloating and talking a lot of shit that was like kind of unnecessary. I lost a lot of respect for him too. Maybe it's playful and it's part of the fun. But like seriously, New York, you're not all that. Seriously, you and Kat, the way y'all acted last night as the new additions to this team, you guys aren't like that. Seriously, you really, really aren't like that. And somebody's going to show y'all at some point during the season. In some ways, I want to root for the Knicks, Milbester, but in some ways, I don't because y'all are being little cocky shits. And in some ways, you once again look like that rich kid that gets everything handed to them. And meanwhile, we're the kid who doesn't get anything. We got to fight for everything we get in our life. That's what this feels like right now. Seriously. Fiercely saying, you're right, Lex. We did look good, and I'm so glad Mobo and Walker played well. Too bad Shed and Battle didn't get a chance to play. Well, they played yesterday in Mississauga the day before, and they got pretty heavy minutes in the Mississauga 905 game that we attended on Sunday. So it could very well be that was part of it. I mean, Battle did get in for a little bit, didn't he? I thought I saw Battle in the game. Oh, no, he didn't get in the game yesterday. That's interesting. All right, let's go ahead and do the rest of the Raptors in the box score. Scotty got hurt in the third quarter, but before he got hurt, 5-11 from the field, 3 of 8 from the three. That's not bad. His three-point was really confident, and he was stepping into it. But there were a couple of times where Scotty settled for the three, and I wish he had driven and gone and closer to the basket. Because in some ways, I don't like that laziness, Scott. Sometimes when you just like to pull up, you had a heat check three at one point where I said heat check, and then immediately after that, Jack said heat check, and Adriana looked at me like, whoa, how did you know that? He's like, how did you know he's going to say heat check? Because that's what a heat check three is. Scotty had made 2 threes already, and he tried to take a crazy contested three that was not a good shot selection, but he was heat checking to see if he is that good right now. So in some ways, I didn't like the heat check and the settling and the laziness of taking those threes, Scott. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, though. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, +5 while he was out there, 15 points in 23 minutes. What could have been? Some people were saying, like people have said on social media, that Scotty's healthy and still at the end of the game, maybe we win this game last night. That's a factor. You know, Scotty goes out. He's a huge weapon for us. It doesn't help anything when he goes out. And RJ has to play more heavy minutes near the end of the game because he has to carry. There was a period of time where we had a Grady and Kelly and Jacoby centered lineup in the late in the game, and it struggled to score to a degree in some ways. And some is the inexperience of Jacoby and Grady, and Kelly just not being able to create his own shots by himself. So we had a hard time deriving offense for a little bit there in the fourth quarter early. And that meant RJ had to come in with 8 minutes to go in the game and play a very long stint to close the game out from 8 minutes on till the end of the game. That's just how it goes. Abaji, 3 for 9, 1 of 4 from 3, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, a +7 with 7 points. The starters were all plus. It was the bench that was minus, which was interesting. So our starters were beating the Knicks starters, outplaying them. It's when we would bring the bench in that we'd have drop-offs, and the Knicks would do better. And that makes sense because in the second quarter, the Knicks, well, in the first quarter, they beat us pretty bad once the bench went in halfway through. And that's where they built that lead, 7-point lead after first. And then we won the second quarter. Then we won the third quarter. But then the referees made sure the Knicks won the fourth quarter. And that's how that went down. Grady Dick, a little bit of a mixed bag of things. He didn't score a lot. 3 of 11 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 6 rebounds, a +6 with 7 points. Yeah, in some ways, we needed more guys in double digits. We only had 4 guys in double digits last night. On the down low, our team had a hard time scoring last night, which was interesting. You know, RJ gets 30, Scotty gets 15, Jacoby gets 19, and Jakob gets 10. And none of the other guys get double digits. And that's where we need either Oshai or Grady or one of the other bench guys to get in double digits. So, yeah, Grady could have shot a little better. Some of his shots he was rushing. Kelly Olynyk, not as good as his debut this season. 3 of 8 from the field. He misses only 3-point attempt. 3 offensive rebounds for 4 rebounds altogether. 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. He was the -15 and with 6 points. Yeah, in some ways he could have contributed more. But, hey, Kelly's just getting back. And in some ways, you know, he's going to have ups and downs. He had a really good first game. Last night, not so much. Jonathan Mobo, 3 for 9. 0 for 1, 3 offensive rebounds, 7 altogether, 2 assists, a minus 17 with 6 points. He was the worst plus minus. In some ways, it looked like Jonathan was willing to step into Scotty's shoes after Scotty went out. And he started to do some of the Scotty roll stuff, like in his absence, which was commendable, but it's not the same level and the same experience and the same aptitude, the being able to do what Scott does. But commendable try, Jonathan, for trying to fill in there. And if anything, you're still continuing to be active. It was fun to see you out there playing against Precious, because in some ways you were fake Precious a couple years ago in the public. I mean, everybody thought you were Precious with Scotty out and about. No, I'm not Precious. I'm Jonathan Mobo. Well, I thought you played better than Precious last night, Jonathan. Seriously, there were a couple times where you outcompeted him on a couple plays. In fact, we look at the stats for Precious versus Jonathan. 6 points and 7 points for Precious. They're very comparable. Honestly, 6 rebounds for Precious, 7 rebounds for Jonathan. They're pretty comparable in some ways, what they did and output last night. So, yeah, it's, in some ways, Jonathan's already as good as Precious is in some ways. You could actually make that argument. Davion Mitchell was good last night. He was 3 of 4 from the field. He was making his shots. He made both his 3-point shots, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, a minus 15 with 8 points. There was a couple of controversy calls on him, like calls that I didn't think were fouls, and he was arguing. Obviously, the one with Jalen Brunson on the 4-point play. But, yeah, there was some unfairness towards Davion. And I thought Davion was awesome. Once again, he's such a specialty kind of player. If you do not understand why Davion Mitchell is valuable to the Raptors, well, watch more basketball and maybe just stop looking for just threes and scoring. This dude is very valuable, and he's awesome. He's awesome. I really enjoy watching him play. So, yeah, no play for Bruno Fernando, Chris Boucher, Garrett Temple, or Jamal Shead, or Jamison Battle. And Shamshay wasn't even dressed either last night. He was wearing his nice jacket on the bench. Pretty cool stuff with him on the bench. There you go. All right, so there we go. Let's keep going. Carlos saying you need a double-digit padding to beat the refs. It may be rigged, but remember, we did win a chip, so it's doable. Yeah, that's what I always say. That's why I always say, and I've said this for a long time. I've been saying this for 15 years. Pretty much the whole time DeMar and Kyle were on our team with Dwayne Casey as the coach. I told the Raptors, I said, y'all need to have a double-digit lead because the refs will screw you if you don't. So there's nothing new about this. And the fact that we've won a championship since I've been saying this shows that it is true. We can win one. So it's just the things got to align, and we got to be perfect, and we got to have Masai and Bobby top-notch, and we have Darko top-notch too, and then our players have to be top-notch for it to happen. But this is true. The double-digit maple syrup lead is always something I've talked about on this channel, that for you to make sure you win, Raptors, you have to have a big lead so the referees cannot screw you in the end. And that's why being just ahead or being lackadaisical or saying, oh, we're going to come up and take over them, beat them by the end. If the other team has a lead, then the refs won't let you. So you need to go get that lead, double-digit lead, and hold them off and withstand maybe ref manipulation by eating up that lead a little bit, but still having the outcome come in your favor just slightly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly it right there. Infamous saying, I can't wait until we play them again. The players won't forget what he did. Yeah. In some ways, the friendliness that RJ and Emmanuel have with the Knicks is not with Cat because he was never their teammate. And in some ways, him coming in and doing that, yeah, that was rude. And Mikal Bridges is another one. He never played with them either. So in some ways, yeah, let's get some payback. And it'll be on the 23rd, just a couple days before Christmas. We'll play the Knicks once again. And the other thing I got to say, 2 of the games that we got against them coming up are national television games. So once again, you think that they railroad us last night in a game that wasn't really on national television in the United States, but it was, honestly, because it was the only game on. You think that they're not going to railroad us when we're on ESPN? That's what we have to be ready for, Raptors. That's why you have to be even better. And it really is a New York versus Toronto thing because of this trade last year. That's all the drama in the world. And they want to see RJ versus New York. They want to see OG versus Toronto. That's right. That's what they want to see. Jimmy's saying even the chip year, we couldn't get calls. Phil Handy talked about it on Danny Green's podcast way back. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's proof right there. I mean, the experts like Paul Pierce were calling the Warriors were going to win the finals when we got there, but we had all the momentum and we were playing at a high level, and the Warriors were kind of on the down low and hurt, but they were still picking them. Why? Because that was the script the NBA wanted written, but we took them off the script by being so good with Kawhi and our team that it messed them up, and it scared the hell out of them. That was part of the reason why they had to make Kawhi go to LA, is that they did not want the Raptors to have a continued weapon like Leonard healthy on our team because it was not good for their business in some ways, is what they're thinking right there. So, yeah, we can do this. They were against us the chip year, and we overcame it and won. That's exactly right. Phil Handy, it was exactly right. In some ways, that's part of the reason why Nick Nurse is like taking the easy way, get the fuck out of Toronto, because he understands how much is up against him. And in Philadelphia, he'll have an easier chance because they'll be more likely to help him out there because it's an American city with the American team that in some ways the Sixers are in that golden boy privilege category. That they want them to be better and help them, but they've been so inept with their front office and their tanking decisions around Joel Embiid that they just suck. They would prop them up if they could. They're going to prop up these teams if they can. They will. They'll give them a little boost and help them. They will give them a little boost and help them. Let's see. Smooth saying that drive RJ had late in the fourth was supposed to be an M1. It wasn't. Wow. That was a very, very severe ref manipulation. It was absolutely the wrong call. He was bringing the ball up, and they should have given him continuation. Instead, they had a side out, and it didn't turn into any basket because we turned the ball over after we side outed. Yeah, that was so nefariously wrong. That was a huge swing right there. It was a swing in momentum. It killed the crowd, and it was unfair as fuck. But RJ didn't hold his head. He's just like, yeah, this bullshit once again. And yeah, I'm going to keep playing, and I'm going to keep trying, even if that was totally unfair. That would have swung the game very heavily in our favor, and we would have probably had a chance to close it out and win it if Tony Brothers hadn't wiped that away. That basket made should have been a 3-point opportunity. And that was a huge ref manipulation, Smooth. That and the 4-point play by Brunson. That's right. It was saying, what are the free throw numbers? All right, let's go look at the box score deeper with the team stats. First of all, I'll check in with OG. He got 14 points, 6 of 14 shooting, 2 of 9 from 3, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. So stat stuffing. But I liked how OG made the first couple shots. It was surreal to see him play against our team because this is the first time he's ever played against the Raptors was last night. He missed the games against us after the trade last year with injury. And it was surreal and weird. I did not like the feeling of OG for 3 against us early in the game. Well, OG was nice, and he missed most of his shots in the second half. He was not playing better later in the game, which thank you, OG, for being like that. Precious was fun to watch. There was a little bit of Precious and OG against us that was weird to see. It really, really was weird to see. All right, looking at the team stats, this is how it went down. We shot worse than them. They shot 51%. We shot 45%, but we managed to make 14 more field goal attempts. So we ended up making 1 more field goal than them, actually. So, we were out there busting our ass, Tony Brothers. Why'd you have to screw us over? We were manufacturing more shots and getting after it more than the Knicks, and you still punished us and made us lose. The free throw attempts were +5 for the Knicks, 17 of 40 for them. And we were, that's 3-point attempts. 17 of 40 from 3 for them, 13 of 35 for us. They took 5 more threes, made 4 more. They've shot 43%. We shot 37%. So they did beat us in the 3 points. Now, this is the difference here for free throws. They got 19 free throws. First of all, there wasn't a lot of free throws called last night. Not a lot of fouls. They were letting them play physically in a lot of ways. There was a little bit of touch shit, like that 4-point play for Jalen Brunson. There's a little bit of touchy fouls called for them on their side. But on our side, we were taking all the brunt of things and not calling jack shit. There were no calls for us in physicality while they were getting little touch fouls in some ways. 9 of 11 from free throws. We only missed 2 free throws, 82% from the free throw line, but +8 free throw attempts for the Knicks last night. And we lost by 5. And I'm just saying, there's all kinds of ways the referees can help the team. Now, does it make it look a little bit weirder that the missed free throw that ended up being free throw attempts is adding to that deficit right there? We can see all the fingerprints of the crime scene, Tony Brothers. We out-rebounded them 51-40, so we should be very happy we got +11 on the boards, and we got 17 offensive rebounds, so that was fantastic. They out-assisted us, 32 assists for them, 23 for us. We could have gotten more assists, but some of that is just missing shots that should have gone in. That would have made assists go up. We had 13 turnovers, so our turnovers weren't too horrible. They had 10, so they had less. Fast break, we got 20 fast break points. We did beat them points in the paint, 56-50. So it is what it is. A lot of the stats were in our favor, except for crucial ones like the free throw attempts. Yeah, it's such bullshit, man. Such bullshit. Wayne saying, Raptor Freaks, I thought I would be lonely salty this morning, but the stealing of games against us is tiresome. Let's support the team and the players, and a cast system is frustrating. That's a great description of it. There's a caste system in the Indian society in India, and in some ways, there's a caste system in the NBA. It's teams of haves and have-nots, and they tier them out, and ESPN shows them who they are as far as who they like to kiss their ass of and who they like to ignore. And well, this is the way they do it right here. Yeah, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. We're gonna bust that system. That's right. Nako's saying Star J deserves better from the refs. I agree. In some ways, I think Tony Brothers it kind of doesn't like this because he can see RJ is a good dude. He likes RJ. I can tell Tony Brothers thinks that RJ is a very good young man and that he's a commendable person. He probably likes him a lot. So in some ways, I don't think Tony Brothers wholeheartedly went with this ref hit job last night. I think that the NBA directed him to do this, and he's a company man, so he's going to follow orders. But I think if Tony Brothers was able to referee this game without the interference of Ed Malloy in the replay center, he would have called this a little bit more fairly for the Raptors, and we would have had a better shot of having a chance to win this game on our merits instead of them closing the door on us. Seriously, I don't think Tony Brothers was very happy, even though he did what he did last night. I'm serious. Y'all be like, what, Lex? No, he probably enjoyed it. No, I don't think so. I don't think he enjoys screwing over RJ Barrett, guys. I don't think he does. Because in some ways, he probably sees himself in RJ Barrett to a degree. Seriously. I'm not lying. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying, glad Kelly played more minutes and was very helpful. However, ever since he's back on the roster, Chris is getting 0 minutes. Yes. That that's one of the factors with these guys coming back. Some people will be pushed out of the rotation, and Chris has been a DMP for 2 games straight since Kelly came back. In some ways, it's what it is. I'm gonna say this right now. Kelly Olynyk is a much better passer than Chris, and Darko really values his passing system and cuts and looking for people. Who's gonna hit people on a cut better between Chris and Kelly? Kelly, because Chris is not a good passer. They could joke about his NBA 2K ratings and how they sewered him with certain stuff like speed and passing, but the passing is true. He's never been really known as a great passer. And in Darko's system, that is essential for all the players to be very high-level passers. This is part of the reason why Boucher was on the outs last year. And this is part of the reason why Darko talked to him a lot this summer and said, these are the things you need to do to get more time with me. But I don't know if Chris will ever become a good enough passer to be higher on the depth chart against Kelly in this team. Because honestly, Kelly is a superb fill-in for Jock when he's out, as far as being a hub as a center and passing to the guys on cuts. In fact, there's a very special chemistry between Olynyk and Dick that is very high level with some of the cuts, and Kelly was getting it to Grady, and he's getting his easiest baskets passing off of Kelly. So that's the main reason right there. Chris is not a good passer, and that is part of the reason why he's sitting out right now. And Raptors fans may get upset because they love Chris and he's a fan favorite, and they may cry free Chris Boucher. But I want to give you all the reason. It's right there. What I just said. It's about being a passer because all 5 players in Darko's system have to be top-level passers. And Chris may be the worst passer on the Raptors right now. The worst one out of all of them. I don't know. Maybe better than Jamison Battle. Maybe better than some of the, Jonathan's a great passer. Jacoby's a great passer. Jamal's a point guard. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, Chris has not been known for his passing. And that is what's keeping him DMP'd right now. Just so y'all know. Smith saying, I just wish Raptors commentators were more pro Raptors instead of praising the other team so much. Just an observation. Well, they have to do this in some ways. That's kind of how they show that they're not biased. And I like that they do that. I think that there's a team that's doing something excellent like SGA does or Kyrie and Luka the other night. You got to give them their shine. I mean, they are part of the product. And once again, our announcers are the salespeople for the NBA product. And in some ways, they got to talk about the legend of Luka. They got to talk about the greatness of Kyrie Irving. They got to indulge us with the mythology of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But yeah, in some ways, there are some things that they got to say to give kudos to the other side. I thought they were very fair last night. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with them giving props to OG Anunoby. There's nothing wrong with them giving props to Jalen Brunson because these guys are a certain level of accomplishment in their career at this point where they are. But yeah, I know in some ways that annoys you. But you know what? They used to never, ever talk us up. And they used to always talk up the other players, but at least now they talk us up as well as talking up the other players, and that's an improvement right there. Let's see. Smithson, I realize it's a rebuild, but it's too much, man. I use profanity at the TV. You know what? I'm giving you a dunk for this, Smooth. Listen, I was pissed last night too. I was saying in the morning, I've been enjoying this season because I don't really get upset about what happens, but I was upset last night. And I'm glad a lot of y'all were too. 87 dunks for Smooth. That's a 5-pointer. Yeah, in some ways, we're all feeling something natural that is natural in this. We've had a lot of different close games that have felt raw and wrong, but this one's a little bit different. There's been a few that have been absolutely awful and just really, really wretchedly cheated. And it sucks. It sucks. We're going to have to turn the corner and control our destiny to hold off this kind of shit happening to us and more in the future. That's right. Fiercely saying, where's Milbester? I don't know. It seems like he should be around. We're playing the Knicks right now. Maybe he's just really busy. I don't know. Who knows? We're wishing Milbester well, even though his team. Oh, there he is. He is here. Milbester's here. It's like Beetlejuice. You had to say it, and all of a sudden he's now in the comments. So he is here. He is here. All right. We'll have to see what he has to say from the other side. He has a lot of comments. Fill it up. All right, Milbester, keep it on the topic of the game because there is enough to talk about with just the game. Stargate saying, yeah, Bucks fan and Cavs fans are surprisingly coming to our defense. Well, they see it. In some ways, they're thinking about also because the Knicks are an enemy of theirs also. That, they see it. They have nothing to be gained by either way. I mean, they don't have to say anything. They could just silently watch it. But they're actually coming to our defense and saying, yeah, we saw the referees railroad the Raptors. Yeah, I appreciate that, Bucks and Cavs Nation. Because honestly, if I saw your games, I don't watch anybody else's games, by the way, and I saw this kind of stuff, I call it down the line and call it just like how it is. If I saw a neutral situation as a Raptors fan watching teams that aren't the teams that I root for, if I see a game like last night, I would say the same thing for y'all. If y'all were in the same situation against the Knicks right now, seriously, I would say the same thing for y'all. And I have in the past. Nago's saying, I love Jacoby's game. Love what Scotty was doing before the injury. Yeah, Scotty was doing pretty good stuff. It wasn't like a top level game like his assist game the other day. But, and like I said, he was lazy settling for those threes at times. That was kind of annoying me. But a lot of what Scotty was doing was really active and competing. And that's what's important. That's what's important. It's too bad he got hurt, though. It's too bad. Most saying, fiercely, Chris understands the game. He's a vet, and I understand your misery. Let's stay positive for him. All right, let's go do the Instagram stories. Since Chris is on the Instagram stories with a reunion with some of the guys. Let's start with Jamal Shed. He's showing clips from way back. It looks like high school clips of Jamal Shed. There he is coming into the game with his fit. He has a really cool jacket on with some diamonds on it. And there's his rookie bag, the little pink bag. He wants to know, is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down on his rookie fit coming in the game last night? Yeah, Shed's probably in a weird place because in some ways he's getting delineated to not in the rotation right now like Chris Boucher. He had to play at 9:05 on Sunday, and in some ways he wasn't effective at 9:05, even though, he had a good stat line with a double-double with 20 points and at least 10 assists. But like I said, he has to be the floor general for 9:05 and get their ducks in a row and organize them to try and win and get wins. That's what Freddie did on 9:05. He made what happened down there. Now, maybe he had a better supporting cast with Pascal and Norman and Jakob at that time. But Shed, you got to do that. That's the path for you right now. It's not on the Raptors. It's not trying to get minutes in the rotation. It's go to 9:05, kick some ass down there so it's undeniable that we have to play you on the big club. Because, I'm going to tell you the truth. The first year Fred was in the league, he played way more on 9:05, and he was like the fourth point guard on our roster, our depth chart. He was not even the third point guard. And he had to come up the ranks. And you got to do the same thing, Jamal. If you want to have a path like Fred VanVleet down the road, you have to come up through the 9:05. You have to prove that you can run that squad in a winning way, and you will get more things on the big squad. In some ways, your route to the NBA is different, just like Shamshay's route is different, just like Jameson's route is different, Jonathan's and Jacoby's. All the rookies have different routes. And in some ways, Jamal, your route is to get that 9:05 right and run it right as the floor general and show the organization what you're about. And I know Kennedy Chandler may be in the way in some ways, but you just got to do it. You just got to do it, man. You just got to do it. There he is. They're showing all the handshakes at the sidelines. Him and Garrett Temple, Jamal Shed, Jonathan Mobo, Jacoby, and Ulrich putting daps all around. Pretty cool to see the handshakes. Then Shamshay is posting the same clip on his Instagram. Norman Powell putting that understand the grind out there like crazy for the Christmas season. He wants y'all to buy his gear, y'all. Get that Norman Powell UTG. gear, y'all. Wubs showing him dapping Bruce Brown during the game. The Cowboy giving him a high five. And there's Jacoby at the free throw line and some highlights from him in the game. There's a nice pass Scotty had to him in the corner, hitting a three before Scotty got hurt in the second quarter. That was when that play was really cool. There's more dapping clips, the same dap clip that the Raptors on the Raptors of men, and these guys are all posting it. DJ Carton celebrating Wubs for his great game, getting 19 points in 21 minutes. Jacoby Walter being celebrated by our two-way DJ Carton. There's Chris Boucher on his Instagram talking to OG and Precious at half court after the game last night. Reunited is what it says. And it's cool. It's cool to see them embracing. Garrett Temple came over and talked to them too around that time. But yeah, there's a special bond between Anunoby, Achua, and Boucher from their years of playing together on the Raptors. These guys are family. And honestly, Precious and OG, you guys stay tight with the Raptors organization. And after retirement, you guys can come back and be celebrated alumni. Precious, I worry about you the most, turning your back on your Raptors chapter. I don't worry about OG. So, Precious, don't deny us just because you went home to New York. You are a Raptor, too, in your career, and you can embrace all the great things about Canada as long as you stay in good standing with us. The Raptor found the announcer, the person who sang the anthem, was wearing the same jacket as him, the Grady red sequin from the draft day. And, yeah, he's hugging that lady for wearing the same fit as him at the game. They're both wearing the red sequin jackets, the lady who sang the anthem. Garrett Temple is putting on blast his wife. I think that they have news, y'all, at least from what I'm seeing right here. I think that she's pregnant again with their third child. So I think that's the news that they kind of let out right now, that Kara Temple is absolutely with child once again, and this will be the third child for the Temple family. So fantastic news indirectly out all of a sudden that Garrett Temple and his wife might be pregnant right now. Also, Garrett has posted this and Davion posted it, reposted it. Mediocrity doesn't knock. It sneaks in. It lives in skipped workouts. It grows in excuses, and it thrives in your comfort zone. The only way out, demand more from yourself, take action when it's hard, and refuse to settle for good enough. You either crush mediocrity or it crushes you. Decide. That's what I'm saying. We can make the excuse about the refs. We got to understand the task at hand, and we just need to do better ourselves and overcome it all. And that's the way you think about it, like Garrett Temple's saying about mediocrity. We can be mediocrity. You say, oh, the refs are against us. We're doomed. We're never going to beat them. And we could just roll over and just allow that to happen. Or we could go up against it and overcome it. And that's what I'm all about. Demand more from yourself. Take action when it's hard and refuse to settle for good enough. That's right. I like that. Davion getting his hair twisted up and braided before the game, showing the work and the nice clean lines. He was coming in the game with a Raptors all-time shirt that was very fire, graphic tee fire. That's right. Good stuff. Showing the homage to the Raptors history. Very, very cool to see that. Off night out in the court. They're showing highlights of that. Him playing against Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks, doing his best. And there's that same thing that Garrett posted. He reposted on there about mediocrity. Raptors 905 celebrating 42.5% three-point shooting of Jamison Battle on their Instagram. Charles Oakley's out with his wife, Angela, at a Christmas holiday party and looking dapper in his black suit and his gray beard and his gray hair. There he is, the happy couple, the Oakleys, seeing them out in a public gala. It's very nice to see. Let's see. Is there anything else in the chat that I want to go over? Not really. There's the Raptors official admin stuff also with the score. Don't really want to go over that. There's your Raptors Instagram stories for today. Mediocrity is not your friend. And the Raptors do a lot of cool daps is what we're learning there. Career high night for Jacoby. That's right. That's right. Wayne saying missing plays or missing shots is one thing, but to actually score and have it nullified is just another level of corruption. Being a minority in a caste system takes high level of stamina. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, it's weird because, you know, for me as a white male with a lot of privilege, I'm not going to lie. I have had a lot of privilege in my life and I'm not going to deny it. You know, a lot of people like me will be like, no, everybody's equal and has a fair chance. That's bullshit. Me being a white male, I had a lot of advantage given to me in some ways underlying. You'd be shocked, especially growing up in the South where there's a lot of racism. So, you know, in some ways, you know, this is the thing we got to understand is they will make the rules up as they go. And that's why we have to be Sam LaRusso and Cobra Kai and just absolutely beat the corruption. Just absolutely beat it where it's undeniable that the Toronto Raptors are 2019 NBA champions. That's what we have to do again. We just have to do it again. Fiercely saying, you're right, super fan Mo. He's a vet and he gets it. Just rooting for him. Well, this period, he's already had a very successful season. He's looked very good. In some ways, Chris Boucher's trade value is very high. If in some ways Darko's like, yeah, we don't really need Chris and we're going to trade him, we may get something of value that fits more with what Darko wants. I mean, I don't like that because I want to keep Chris as long as possible because he's the last champion from the 2019 team on our team right now. But also at the same time, his trade value is okay because he's played very well so far this season. Now, it could very well be because Scotty's out. Well, all of a sudden, Chris is back in the rotation, partly because somebody's going to have to take those minutes. So we'll have to see how it goes. It's a long season, and there may be periods where Chris is not playing DMPs. And Darko said this very openly. He's very upfront with them. They talked about it. You may not play right now, but you will get to play again eventually, I'm sure. And hopefully it's not because Chris is playing because Scotty's hurt again for an extended period of time. But that is how it works right there. That's right. Stargate saying 3 plays. The Davion on Brunson 3-pointer, yes. The Cat obvious offensive foul on Kelly, yes. And the RJM one, all very obvious. Yes, yes, and yes. And all of them happen in the fourth quarter. And that is the problem right there. That's the directive, and that is the script writing right there. Jimmy's saying OG is just allowed to push guys now. He couldn't do that in Toronto. Laugh out loud. Yeah, OG was funny and interesting. Very, very funny and interesting. Some of the stuff. It's fun to see him. In some ways it's sad. It is the way it is, but it's also like I love him and I love to see his success. And he was definitely embracing seeing everybody in Toronto once again, dapping Herbie before the game and going and seeing Nav and giving him a big hug and stuff like that. These guys, OG's an awesome, always going to be a Raptor to a degree in our hearts because of the years he spent here, for sure. Carlos saying, damn, I got to watch Cobra Kai then. Yeah, it's pretty good. You might like it. If you like Karate Kid, the old movies, well, you definitely need to watch Cobra Kai. It's some interesting stuff. It's a very interesting show. Now, let's see. Smooth saying, I read about him. Luigi lost a couple of family members because of the insurance system. See, there you go. It doesn't even matter. That's crazy. His family is very rich, and he still lost people in his family where he felt like this vigilante justice to do this. Well, nothing can change. He killed that man last week, and he's going to get the full due of justice. And in some ways, you're a martyr and a vigilante. And in some ways, once again, I tip my hat to you, man. Because in some ways, you know what? When a system is corrupt and the law is corrupt, well, laws don't apply anymore if things are wrong, not right and wrong, and society is turned upside down and not just. I'm sorry. In some ways, this is where we get to anarchy. This is where we get to it because the people in charge are greedy and they're taking advantage, and it's not a just system. Just because laws are laws don't mean they're just. And then sometimes you need to use critical thinking and understanding. I'm not saying like murder is murder is a wrong crime, sure. But I'm just saying if society is unjust and corrupt, this guy in some ways is a hero to a lot of people right now. And his story with family members like this, there's a lot of people that have this story right now. They're pissed in certain ways. And well, things are going to continue to be more dystopian and rigged in certain ways. Well, there's going to be more incidents like this because, people will feel like they want get back, or they may feel like, this is justice actually served, even if it's not according to the laws, is what I'm saying. That's all right there. Yeah. Stargate saying, no, at Lex, I agree. I believe we can overcome it for sure. I'm just shedding light on to you how they, the NBA, are thinking. Never said we can't overcome and beat the corruption because we can and will. That's the right attitude, Stargate. It's just in some ways, I know that you were a little pessimistic in the chat and it was kind of rubbing me the wrong way because you're saying, oh, this is just how they do it. We know this. You know that I know this. We talk about it every day. And I'm glad to hear this, that you still believe. Because, I mean, what's the point if we can't believe? What is the point? Even if our chance is so minuscule, we're going to try and do it. I mean, there's still Charlotte Hornet fans. There's still Washington Wizards fans still, right? Isn't there? So there better be Toronto Raptors fans still that believe it. That's right. I celebrate it. That's right. That's right. You're sick then. You're sick. You're sick then. Let's see. Carlos saying, fine by me. This guy implemented an AI that denies 90% of claims, and I'm fine being sick. There you go. And Jimmy's apping that. No, I'm with the shooter, man. I'm serious. In some ways, look, like I said, if the system is corrupt, in some ways, it's a vigilante thing. Well, whatever. In some ways, this is a wake-up call. Maybe this will change some behavior. Maybe this will make some of them people think like, oh, this is a wake-up call. Why did this guy do this? Maybe we do need to be more humanistic and caring about the personal stories and the very specific stories of the people we affect with our broad sweeping policies and way we conduct our business. In some ways, healthcare system in the United States is absolutely unnecessary. It's like a landlord. They jump in and they buy up all the houses and they make you pay them for it. Whereas we should be able to just buy the mortgages ourselves and not have that middleman in there. Like the landlord gets all the credit for the house and the mortgage, and the renter doesn't get this shit, but they're paying for it all, and the landlord's a leech in the middle of it. Well, healthcare in the United States is the same damn thing. And that guy who's the CEO of that company, well, he's not necessary. If you have a standardized public healthcare system like Canada, and this is what Doug Ford wants to implement here, bloodsuckers in between us and our healthcare that will feed off of us, just like the American system, and make a whole bunch of money off our blood and misery and our sadness and our disease. And we don't want to be anything like the U.S. healthcare system. They pay the most for healthcare and they get the worst service. Seriously, they came out with the statistics. People get better healthcare in public healthcare countries in Europe than they do in the United States, and they pay out the nose in the United States. What is to be duplicated by that except for a business model to make CEOs and people rich, like that man that died in the street last week? So I'm just saying they're not necessary. That guy that was in the street that died last week, he was not necessary. He's just somebody who's a middleman who's in the middle who wants a cut off of something. And in some ways, it's so morally repugnant, the healthcare system in the United States. So that's where I go on that right there. Boom goes a dynamite. There you go. Stargate saying, love Darko. Don't get me wrong. He's a good coach, but he has to learn better in-game management. Jacoby should have been on the floor at crunch time. Still would have been good for his development. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to second guess him too much. Once again, he's in development himself as a coach, as a head coach, but I think he's doing a great job. There's a lot of little indicative things, like when he calls timeouts is fantastic. A lot of his rotation work has been top notch, honestly. You got to think about how much there would be drop-offs between the starters to the bench in the past with Nick Nurse's teams, and this is just not a reoccurring phenomena in the regularity that it was with Nick. So there's a lot of things that you can judge a coach on. And sure, he's not perfect, but in a lot of things, he's on top of things. And yeah, maybe he can get better at some of the stuff you're saying. I don't know if Jacoby's ready for crunch time, though. I may disagree with you in some ways. I may think, okay, he's still so green. How many games has he played? Less than a dozen, I think, in the NBA. So I don't disagree with his decision not to play Jacoby late, because in some ways he wants that veteran squad out there. And even Davion Mitchell's smarter to play out there later in the game than Jacoby, just because of the experience factor, is what I'll say on that. Jimmy's saying, I don't condone killing anyone, but the shit I hear about the privatization of healthcare in the States is sad and all for profit. That's exactly what I was just talking about. These guys are parasites and leeches, and that's what that man said when he shot him. In some place, he had the bullets and the manifesto and all this stuff. They're going to try and read into this Luigi guy to figure out why he did this. It's not that hard to figure this out. FBI people, media, you're saying, why would a deranged man do this? Come on. You can't connect the dots. You're talking to us like we're stupid. We understand exactly why he did this, because a lot of us can relate. How about that? Yeah, this is why we do not want the conservative government to be in charge here in Canada, because one of the things Pierre Poilievre will do is try and privatize healthcare like the United States more and more for his crony friends so that he can pay them back, so that they can make a bunch of money off of the blood and misery of the sadness of our healthcare problems of our people. So reject it. We have a good healthcare system in Canada. Do not listen to this bullshit. Wait times and all this kind of shit is bullshit. We need to continue to have public healthcare here. And the more they privatize healthcare or try to do that, the worse it'll get, just like the United States. So make sure you vote, everybody, and vote against PC, because that is the side that wants to privatize our healthcare and make us more like the United States. Don't believe any of the bullshit on TV. They talk about carbon tax. They talk about the liberals this, Cynthia this, Justin this. Forget that shit. That's red herring. Don't fall for shit like our idiot old friend that's not allowed here anymore. Realize that the party in Canada that wants to privatize healthcare and make us pay through the nose like the Americans do for worse healthcare is the PC government. So stay away from fucking progressive conservatives. They're not progressive, and they're fucking full of shit. They're a favors game, just like Doug Ford. This whole Therme thing that's going on down there, they've seen the price tag and it's in the billions now. Why the fuck are we paying billions of dollars to remodel a public land called Ontario Place to help a foreign country build a spa to make money off of us? That's not even a public facility. It's a private facility for profit for the friends of Doug Ford. That's what I'm saying. This is why businessmen should not be in politics like Donald Trump or Doug Ford, because they do crony capitalism, which is all about favors. You help me get elected, I'll help you get these sweetheart deals like the Therme Spa down by Lake Ontario. And that's what I'm saying. Just know that, listen, the liberals are bad too because they're corporatized too. They are corporate puppets also. But don't get it twisted. There's a lesser of two evils. And they were very effective at saying both sides were just as bad. And I told y'all there's a false equivalency between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And everybody that thought that Kamala is just as bad as Donald, well, you're going to find out you were absolutely wrong in the next 4 years, and the misery and the sadness that is going to be wrought by a second Trump administration. So don't make the same mistake of equating the liberals to the conservatives here in this country, because the United States are going to pay the price for this. And next year, when Canadians go to the polls, we don't need to make the same mistake that those idiots made down south this year in November. I'm going to say that right now. If you think the liberals are just as bad as conservatives, you've been brainwashed by a bunch of ads on TV and a general hate for Justin Trudeau that they have tried to engulf the flames and make them even higher by fanning them. You can be duped by them and go ahead and follow them. And listen, Justin's not perfect, but he is damn for sure better than Paul Revere, who's going to try and come in and make money off the blood and misery in our healthcare system. That's what I'll say right there. Right there. Do not fall for that false equivalency shit. Sure, they are corporate puppets, the liberals. They're not the best party in the world. And, I am an Orange Party person, an NDP. But they are still a better alternative to the privatization of our healthcare system in Canada. That's what I say right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Let's see. Wayne's saying, please, freaks, let's let Lex have his social rant and leave it there. Let's just rant on the referees only and support our players. I appreciate Van Vliet now. He would be calling out the incompetence. Yeah. I love Freddie. You bitch. You a bitch. You a bitch. I don't know. RJ's not going to do that specifically, but man, he could probably one day. Maybe he will get fed up and say, you a bitch, you a bitch, you a bitch. That's right. All right. Milbester's here. Let's hear what Nick's Freak has to say on the day. Let's see how he's going to say. Oh boy, what happened last night, Lex? Did my refs steal a game from you? Do the refs? He's saying it right there. Good thing umpires in MLB actually aren't like the NBA refs, thanks to advanced instant replay. You know what, Milbester, I appreciate you coming in here with that first comment. I appreciate you being here, Knicks fan. And you're not in here to gloat, and you're actually saying something here. It's saying, Lex, I actually saw that RJ said he knew he was getting traded to Toronto before the Knicks traded him. I was shocked. But yeah, that game was BS for Raptors. We had lost to Pistons, who were 16-loss streak. Yeah, you guys got beat by the Pistons the last game, and that was crazy in some ways. They're trying to help the Pistons to a degree, I think. But I appreciate Milbester looking with clear eyes as a Knicks fan, a very devout, loyal Knicks fan, and seeing what happened last night. He admitted it. Now, kudos to you. You get the W, Milbester, and thank you for having the truth and being all about it. A lot of Knicks fans don't want to see it, and they're going to be lying about it today. Oh, yeah. Milbester, salute to you. In fact, I'm going to give you a dunk, man. Milbester, we haven't seen you in a while, and I figured maybe we see you when we start playing the Knicks again. I'm going to give you a 10-pointer, my guy. You got 37. You got that Jamias Ramsey, 37, my guy. There you go. Cool Cat's here. Good morning to the coach. Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Last night's game was a Tony Brothers masterpiece. NBA needed to ensure the Knicks win. That game was stolen from us. OG on a team where he can grab and push without penalty now. Happy, smiling. Yeah, there's another one where it's like, that makes sense. That makes sense completely right there. That's right. Cool Cat sees it all too. I would say it's a Tony Brothers masterclass, but I'd say it's an Ed Malloy masterclass from remote. Cool Cat, because he's in the replay center telling Tony what to do. Honestly, Wayne saying, leave it alone, Infamous, respectfully. And Infamous saying, Wayne, you're not my father, respectfully. I don't even know what y'all are going on. Infamous didn't really do anything too hardcore. He took some messages back. Maybe he's arguing with me because of the killing or whatever. Either way, listen, I'm the one who's putting my ass out there saying, yeah, I think that what that dude was right. And that doesn't necessarily mean everybody has to agree with me. It's a murder is a murder. I get that. But listen, I'm a little chaotic anarchist a little bit in some ways. And I understand this system is corrupt and messed up that we live in. And in some ways, if they don't want to write it themselves, the people in the power that have all the power to write it, Well, maybe a little anarchy and chaos will get them guided in the right direction to get things a little bit right. In some ways, the fall of Western civilization may be doomed because there's war in the Middle East and genocide is happening as we speak. Maybe there is going to be a button pushed at some point. Maybe the greed will be so out of control. It's just like the fall of Roman Empire because these motherfuckers didn't understand to keep their game going, they have to keep things healthy in the ecosystem. And if you don't keep the healthy workers healthy and the system not rigged in certain ways so that people can actually feel like they have a chance, they don't get jaded to the point where they're doing shit like what this young man did last week. So that's what I'm saying. This is a wake-up call, canary in the coal mine, so to speak. And if you really want to make these changes, 1%, CEOs, people that have all the power in the world, you better fucking get right with your workers and stop union busting, start paying your fair share of taxes, and start taking care of your workers that work for you instead of making them starve even more and more on food stamps or even lose their house. So yeah, you want to push the shove the majority of people further and further into harder times. Well, you're going to get some more of this acting out. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's just how it is. That's right. Get well soon, Scotty Barnes. That's right, Seymour Pape. I'm with you on that. Cool Cat saying Knicks fans came into spaces and admit the ref's whistle was bad. It was so blatant. All those phantom fouls against the Raptors. RJ drove so many times and Knicks draped all over him and no call. There you go. I like to hear that. Cool Cat's monitoring the spaces and the toxic, stupid-ass Musk platform that I have vacated and left. I won't see that shit ever again because I'm not going back, Elon, you fuckface. Yeah, they were being honest about it. Good. I know Knicks fans are some of the most intelligent basketball fans in the NBA. They really understand basketball, and I'm glad they're not kidding themselves on what happened last night. In some ways, that makes me feel better. If most of the Knicks fans are understanding they had one given to them last night. Yeah, I'll say that. You going to come watch me, Knicks fan, like Milbester? If you can say what Milbester said, you're cool with me. And in some ways, congratulations on your win. The NBA wanted y'all to win. How about that? Carlos saying 10-4, good buddy, to Wayne Strainer, our sergeant at arms. Wayne Strainer, I love you, man. Let's go. Milbester saying, Lex, I haven't watched NBA games this season because of international baseball tournaments and WBC, but that game was ass. Raptors had that game. Precious has come back from injuries as well. Yeah, it was good to see Precious out there just in time to play us for the first time. And it was nice to see OG playing against us. It was a little weird. First time ever seeing OG Anunoby against the Raptors. He's never ever played the Raptors in his whole entire career because he was on the Raptors and he didn't get to play us last year. So this was OG's first ever game against the Raptors, which was weird. In some ways, Scotty and him were a little bit of battling, a little bit of guarding each other. Of course, we saw OG guarding RJ and RJ guarding OG. So a little bit of that going on. Yeah, I mean, it was ass. You're right, Milbester. And in some ways, I hate this. In some ways, Knicks fans get cheated of getting the real good feeling of earning a victory because the referees have to put their hand in what is happening in the game. That's what I say. You're not just cheating the Raptors. You're cheating the Knicks by not allowing them the ability to beat us on fair terms is what I'm saying about that. That's right. F the Knicks, respectfully, laugh out loud. Listen, I love some of the Knicks. I really do. We're going to love our former Raptors. There's certain guys on that team that I have respect for, but there's some guys or knuckleheads that I don't have any respect for too. I used to really respect Julius Randle, but he's not on that team anymore. And I don't respect Cat, and I don't respect Mikal Bridges either at this point. Jalen Brunson's a little punk too. I don't like the Villanova guys. So I don't know. I guess it's OG and Precious that I like. I guess. I kind of like Miles McBride, too. He's kind of a hooper. He's kind of cool, too. That's right. Milbester saying NBA refs used to be the best and MLB umpires used to be the worst. Now it's reversed. MLB umps the best and the NBA refs the worst. I think that the MLB has embraced technology more than the NBA has as far as showing, the strike zone stuff. They have more technology to locate it, and it's not just the eyeballs of the umps. And that may be part of the improvement of the MLB. Meanwhile, the NBA is just, they're getting more and more innovative on how they can manipulate and shape the game to their favor the way they want to by making up rules every year. They change the rules every year. The screen rule this year is the new way of getting offensive foul turnovers on teams is because when they choose to, just like in an NFL game, there's always holding on the line between the offensive line and the defensive line. There's always holding. It's just when do the NFL refs want to call the holding at the line? It's their discretion when they want to. Well, just like with screens on the outside of the horn in the NBA, They can call that offensive foul on screens whenever they want to, and they pick and choose. And that is a nefarious ref manipulation because it's a turnover and a foul on a team, and they have no control over it. If they just decide they want to call offensive foul on a screen on Jakob Poeltl, well, that can kill our momentum, and that can hand Jakob a very crucial foul, and that is a turnover handed to the Raptors that they may not have deserved. In fact, they could see the Raptors play a game for 3 quarters with no turnovers, and they could do that turnover to them just to blemish that record of playing a game with no turnovers. Well, we're going to make sure you get a turnover. Here's a fucking screen, a legal screen call, which we can call whenever we want because we'll justify it how we want to. Yeah. And Milbester's getting applause from G right now. All right. I like that. Carlos saying refs are ruining the game. Ratings are down. Is the ref union that powerful? It's not the refs. You got to understand they're the instrument of Adam Silver. Adam Silver has a product that he wants to shape and build, and he has narratives. He has the Bronny narrative. He has the Celtics narrative. He has a New York narrative too, obviously. And that's what it is. It's the front office. They used to talk about how the NBA refs every game get bulletin points from the NBA about what to focus on. And it could be at some point during the league that is focusing on, well, this player's had this tendency to do this action. It's actually traveling, like the Allen Iverson travel in the Last Dance that we heard about. Or no, it was in the Donaghy series. The Donaghy series, they talked about, well, Allen Iverson was doing this travel all the time. We wouldn't let him do it, but we decided to start calling it on him all of a sudden. You know, that's the thing. Those 3 referees sit in the arena downstairs before the game, and they get information from the NBA on what to focus on. Sometimes it's as simple as don't call any fouls on Michael Jordan or LeBron James because they're money men. And if they're not in the game, well, we're losing ratings. You know, it's shit like that. So it could very well be the script was, all right, let the Raptors have all the calls in the first half, but in the second half, screw them over and make sure the Knicks win. I mean, it could be as pointed as that. I don't know if there's something in the garbage, in the trash, in the bottom of Scotiabank Arena where these guys were sitting. It's probably all digital, and they can hide the files at this point. But I'm just saying, this stuff exists. Bulletin points for the refs to have centers of emphasis and attention for that particular game. And sometimes they're very specific about specific individual players and how to treat them. You know, I could say in the playoffs against Philadelphia in Scotty's rookie year, in that one crucial game, on that bulletin point, they had get Fred VanVleet 2 fouls in the first minute of the game. And they did that. They executed it flawlessly. Fred VanVleet, 2 fouls right away against Philadelphia in Philadelphia a couple years ago, the last time we were in the playoffs proper. And that hurt us for the whole entire game because Fred was in foul trouble from the start. And that was very much a ref hit job, putting Fred in foul trouble right from the bat in that Philadelphia game. And you know the game I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. Seymour saying the refs work for the mob in Vegas, New York, Chicago, Boston, Miami, LA. Yeah, those are the big teams that they try and help. And some of them could be in the doghouse and not getting as much help as certain times and different times. It changes around. Cool Cat saying it is my imagination that OG is showing more emotion on his new team, interacting with fans, even more social media posts. Love how OG tell the reporters he always played that way on Raptors. Yeah, I mean, all right, listen, our last memories of OG were in a very murky, confusing, not very good situation with Nick Nurse. And even the last half year with Darko coaching him, he knew that the other shoe was going to drop and he's going to get traded. So in some ways, there was not really like settled things where he could feel totally comfortable. But now he's gotten to New York, he can really kind of be at ease and maybe be a little bit more like himself like that. I think that's part of it. You know, Kate Burness fawning about this before the game. Oh, it's so good to see OG happy and grabbing the mic. She kept talking about that over and over again. I mean, listen, it may hurt a little bit. Maybe they're doing that on purpose to try and hurt Raptors fans and say, OG's just happier in New York, guys. It is true. He is happier right now. But there's a lot of reasons why he's happier right now compared to the last couple of years in Toronto. Let's not get it twisted. OG was very happy around the championships, even though he had an epidectomy and he wasn't there. He was very happy around the bubble when he made that shot against the Celtics. You know, he's had happy times. It's just that maybe they're not put on blast and they're more private. So it is what it is. Imba is saying, in my opinion, Darko wanted waited too long to put RJ back in the game in the fourth. Not criticism, just observation. Well, not in the game last night. No. No, because he once Scott went out, he had to balance things with RJ as the catalyst, the most important player on our team that could carry us to score and win. And he put him back with 8 minutes to go. That wasn't too late. In fact, that was maybe early because for him to be fully fresh and come back, he probably wanted to put him with 5 minutes to go. But he saw the offense was struggling with just Kelly and Grady running it. And he had to put RJ back in a little earlier. So I'm going to disagree with you. You know, you guys made the criticism that he didn't put RJ back in before in another game last week, but that was partly because the refs never called any dead balls and let him in. So I'm not getting on Darko for when he puts RJ in at the end of the game. It is what it is. In some ways, it's dictated by the refs, and in some ways, it's like that was dictated by Scotty's injury. So I don't get mad at him for that. I don't. RJ's tough. He can play long minutes and still not be tired. So let's see. Wayne saying Darko's job is tough, having to motivate when the system just does everything to break you. Do we really have to play perfectly to win? Scotty got injured after jacking up a lazy three. He needs to chill. Yeah. I mean, that's a freak injury. In some ways, like I said, Cat's a little bit dancy with his feet all over the place. And maybe, him kicking out and kicking Yak in the nuts, maybe he's a little reckless, like Joel, as far as with his limbs hitting out and doing weird shit. Like the play with Kelly was really dirty too. And thankfully, Kelly didn't get hurt in that drive that was an offensive charge that was called the wrong way. That's all that kind of stuff going on right now. Yeah. Stargate saying objective observation on RJ. He did miss quite a few defensive assignments last night, but his offense was top notch, and the refs not giving him calls game after game must be very, very frustrating. Well, much like our guy DeMar, the weakness of RJ is the defensive side, but he's improving and getting better and better. And in the way the system that Darko has it, in some ways, there's a lot of safety valves with the rim protection of people like Jakob, and then the point of attack guys like Davion. RJ is going to get different assignments, and in different ways. He had PJ Washington on Saturday, and PJ Washington could cook him because he had a height advantage. I don't know. RJ's trying. I'm not going to get mad at him. He's showing more and more better defensive stuff, even if he's not a top-notch defensive player. He's trying. And yeah, he's going to blow assignments from time to time. Also, we got to understand that Knicks offense, Stargate, is one of the best offenses in the league right now. Their defense isn't as good as it was last year. They're more offensive heavy now with Cat and Jalen Brunson, and they're very hard to guard. So some of the stuff you may have saw about RJ is just more a credit to the Knicks and their very, very efficient offense. I would say that. Cool Cat saying, are the refs on the Vegas stakes? I think that at halftime, they weren't happy with the parlay outcome of the Raptors being up by 1 at halftime. I really don't think they were. Carlos saying at this point, they have to be. There's no reason why the NBA would ruin its own product. Yeah, it's just maybe we know too much. We're able to see it because we're educated. Common NBA fans may not see all this. They may be dummies, and they may not be able to see the forest for the trees through it all. They may be like that. In some ways, we got the veil lifted, and we're seeing quite clearly. And that may be a difference. Some of the younger fans, they may have snowballed, and they don't have any idea of knowing anything else because they haven't watched the NBA for 40 years like I have. In some ways, that's part of it. It's like if the young fans come in and this is all they have ever known, they don't know what it used to be like, so that they can't say, oh, wow, this is way worse than it used to be. Seriously. Let's see. All right, let's go with Milbester saying, Lex, OG has been great this season for us. He really hit the gym in off season to get stronger after the injuries last season. I saw his 40-point game this season. How was the Raptors fans when OG played? We love OG. We've most of the time liked him a lot. He had a learning curve here. He wasn't good right away. He really did build himself up over his years with us. And he's now that product that you guys get to enjoy at this point. He's awesome, man. And in some ways, I wish all the best for him. I really, really do. I don't want him to win another championship, though. I want him to have a special championship just with Toronto. That's right. Carlos saying OG has always been strong. That's right. He looked about the same as he always is. He's a very strong man. Very, very strong. Monique saying, so Lex came home from the 905 game with some redness. We hope it's not a pressure sore back on the 19th versus the Nets. Sad to hear that. I know that, Mo, part of it is like when you go to games, you got to be in your chair and you need time just to relax and not be in the chair laying in the bed. And I hope that you get enough time just relaxing and being away and laying around and feeling better. That's what I want. I know you're such an active going to the game person, but if you need to chill for a little bit, do what's best for you. We're always on your side, and we love you, Monique. and we want you to feel good. So I don't like hearing that you didn't feel well after coming from the game. I don't like seeing that. Yeah. Jimmy saying cut the chat, maybe. Yeah, I'm at 218, and I do want to get out of here soon because I got to go to the bank and take care of some business. Yes, I do. Seymour saying, I feel Toronto Tempo will go through the same growing pains like the Raptors. This could very well be true. This could very well be true. You know, I hate the mirroring between Westchester Knicks games and the Raptors games recently. That in some ways the Knicks on the G League level did a lot of the same things that the Knicks did last night. But it's not that the refs manipulated things against the 905 like they did against the Raptors. It's just that the 905 didn't have the experience to close out the game against the Westchester Knicks, the game we went to on Sunday, in a way where they got the win. And Andrew Jones is trying to fix that and teach them how to do it. Less mistakes and playing better at the end. And none of this kind of turning ball over with a 5-second violation. Really, really dumb. Trevor's saying lots of people who never got to see the Raptors play but got that chance to see them last night go against New York. I think a lot of people got new respect for the Raptors and see that we got some good things going, and that in some ways they understand our team is way better than our record. And I'm glad. In some ways, we did a good job. If we weren't successful winning the game last night, at least we looked good last night with all of the NBA world watching us. And I appreciate that. Good job, guys. That was successful. That was very successful. All right, here's a classic card, guys. Since y'all are calling me on this, let's see. No. All right, let's see. Trevor J is what is that time right there? That time is all right, Bill Bester, cut down. No more comments from you because I am going to try and get out of here soon. Okay, at 10:24 is when the classic card was called for. All right, here we go. Who's this classic card, guys? Full name answer is probably pretty easy. Give me the full name answer on this classic card. I think that's an easy card. I think you all can tell who that is. So give me that full name answer, and you get this classic card of the day. I'm going to say it's 100 points because I think this is an easy classic card, honestly. There we go. Carlo got it. It is Joe Harris. He's in right before Mike. Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets at this time. Is he still in the league or did he retire because of injury? I'm not even totally sure. I think he did, might have. All right. So, yeah, Joe Harris is going to go to Carlo, who got in there right before you, Mike. I'm sorry. 2 days in a row for Carlo JS getting the classic card. Yeah, that was an easy one. So I can't give you too many points. It's just 100 for this one. But, yeah, good job, Carlo JS, on that one. 100 points for Joe Harris, classic card of the day. Not very classic, but a card nonetheless. It is a card. All right, I love this next comment that's on the list after this. I saw it for a second here, and it's saying that Monique got a friend request from Teresa Resch on Facebook. She was surprised. That's awesome. That's so good. Yeah, friend request Teresa. That's awesome, Monique. So you're friends with her now. I keep seeing Leo on Facebook, and it says like add as a friend. I'm like, man, should I add Leo as a friend on here? I don't know. Would he take you, Raptor Street, on there? Maybe he would. Maybe he won't. I don't know. Leo, are you mad that I'm not doing your life tips anymore? Please come to Blue Skies and post your life tips there because I'll do your life tips again if you come to Blue Skies. Maybe I just need to be your friend on Facebook. Maybe I'll see them there. I don't know. Should I go friend request Leo Routens right now, guys? He's on my suggested friends right now. It's weird. I don't know. Mo, are you friends with Leo? I think you are, aren't you? I'm really seriously considering friend requesting Leo Routens, guys. Maybe I should. Maybe it'd be like, no, who the hell is this guy? This is my personal account. Who is this guy? I don't know. Maybe I should do it. Y'all, should I do a poll? Should Lex friend request Leo Routens on Facebook? Will he reject me? If he rejects me, I'll be sad. But either way, we'll have to see. G saying, Mo, that's amazing. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. We are a known quantity. Monique is very known in the Raptors organization. Courtney Charles coming to say hi to us on Sunday. Yeah, the organizations know Monique. And in some ways, by proxy, they know us too. They really do. They really do. Wayne's saying, I'm not watching any in-season games due to the league's behavior. Fairness matters to me. Beat me by being better, not by your cast. Difficult to watch predetermined games. Dallas report is JFK. Yeah, that's the airport. JFK. No, that's the airport in New York. Listen, we're going to have to see. In some ways, I'm not watching the NBA Cup either. They're going to do these games. In some ways, this thing doesn't have the luster and importance to me yet. The Lakers won it last year. Y'all handed it to them in script writing. It didn't give it a good start. At least this year, the team, we'll have to see who wins and how they win and just see how much the hand of Adam Silver is guiding the script that he wants to be written in the NBA Cup finals. So I'm just have to, in some ways, I'll pay attention to the results, but I'm not watching either. I'm with you, Wayne. I'm with you. Name is saying, any idea where an IQ or SB may return? I have no idea about Scotty. They have to do a lot of assessing him first, but IQ, I was hoping he could come back very soon, and hopefully he will. We need IQ back. We really do. Seymour saying, we have some deep wounds this season, but I'm always want this team to fight, and it's hard going against the grind. This is how we do it. We just got to stay together and continue plotting and plotting ahead and trying to get better and better, and we just got to beat the machine. And we can. We proved it before. We'll do it again. Masai's with us. We can do it. Not going to saying Scotty's getting evaluated today. There you go. Monique saying, cool tidbit from the 905 game. Me and Charlie Brown left the game together, and my little cousin got a picture with him. Hey, he didn't even play. He's had back problems, so he was in DNP in our game that we went to. That's cool that you saw him on the way out. I think I saw Eugene on the way out also when we were coming out with his family. It looked like Eugene Omaroy walked by us when we were on our way out. Yeah, that's just a fantastic, fun time. Going to the game with Monique and MK and Blackhawk being there. So fun. Raptor Freak family. Y'all seen the pictures and the community tab of us at the game, the Raptor Freak family in representing. And I think we'll do this January the 18th, y'all. Valley Suns, 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon game, just like the one we just did. Is the same thing. We're going to do the next one on the 18th of January. So mark your calendar. If you did not make this one, make this one, David, Gerald, and other people, Kareem, because we're going to be going back for Valley Suns, January 18th, 2 p.m., same time, Paramount Fine Food Center against the G League team, the brand new one for the Phoenix Suns. And they've never played in Mississauga before. So we'll be going down there for that. And I do want to get really good seats. I want to sit as close to the court as possible for this one. And hopefully Mo can go again and come down there and sit close too. And tell them that, Mo. Tell them it's like, yeah, we want to be on the floor this time. And we're going to come up and sit as close as possible because there's room down there. And even if we sit at one of those tables, Mo, you can sit at one of those tables with us. There's nothing wrong with that. So we're going to have to figure this out. How much is a table, Courtney Charles? The Raptor Freaks want a table at the end court, or maybe even sitting at where Bruno Fernando and Davion Mitchell and Jacoby Walter were sitting at mid-court, courtside, right up front. Does that sound fun? Let's go watch the Valley Suns against Al Rashamshe and the Raptors 905 really up close. I've never sat courtside at an NBA game. Why don't I go sit courtside at a G League game and see what that's all about? That's what I'm talking about. Milbester saying, Lex, how you see Cat? He's been great with us and OG. Both OG and Cat are terrific chemistry together. They seem like they like each other from what I've seen. I don't like Cat right now. First of all, I think he's soft, and I think he's going to screw y'all over in the playoffs. That's what I'll say, Milbester. That's what I'll say on him. Mike's saying, everyone is saying the Knicks are contenders this year. We went toe-to-toe with them. This is just like with the Celtics. We went toe-to-toe with them, and there was a little bit of funny stuff at the end of the game to help that other Atlantic Division team beat us. Mike, good to see you. Project Truth always, my friend. Carlos saying, only Cleveland and OKC kicked our asses this year. For me, those are the contenders. Yeah, I think that's about right. I'm with Carlo on this. Mike's saying the Knicks offense is number one at the moment, I think. There you go. That may be part of the reason why they make RJ look bad on defense. Carlos saying, yep, Knicks offense humming. Defense is sus, though. Very much so. Very much so. They're hoping that Mitchell Robinson will come back and help them with that a little bit. Stargate saying, yes, Tony did seem uncomfortable with the explanation of that call against Kelly on Cat. Yeah, he choked up a little bit. He was not totally the smoothest delivery on the mic last night, Tony Brothers, whether the mic was turned off or he's like kind of like start and restart. Yeah, he didn't look like he was saying it with forthrightness like he normally is. I'm telling you, Tony Brothers has a sense of right and wrong. And in some ways, he was saying stuff that he did not want to say last night. Milbester saying, Lex, was this our first or second game against the Raptors? This is number one. First time y'all played us. And we're going to play y'all on the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. So, yeah, that's the next time we play y'all. And that one's on TV. That one's on TV. That's right. We play 4 games in a season as usual. We went 4-0 in the NBA Cup, and they're playing the Hawks in the season tournament semifinals in Vegas. Yeah, in some ways, that was a concern of why they wanted to help the Knicks win, because they don't want them coming in with a 2-game losing streak to the Detroit Pistons and the Toronto Raptors going up against the Hawks in this quarterfinals of the NBA Cup that's coming up for them. So I can say that's part of the reason why they railroaded us. They may not have wanted to railroad New York with the schedule, but then when they saw the things that are going on with these two teams, yeah, going into the NBA Cup quarterfinals with 2 losses in a row to 2 sub teams like the Pistons and the Raptors is not what the NBA wants to script right, is what I'm going to say right there. That's right. Stargate saying at Lex, I never said I have no hope. I'm just pointing it out. We need as much voices as possible pointing out the xenophobic bias. Yes, I'm patriotically Canadian and I'll fight fire with fire against that. I love that, man. Stargate, I'm going to give you a big dunk, a 10-pointer for this. Yeah, it's in some ways, you know what it is? I'm not used to you guys being in the Facebook chat. I really liked it being in there, but it was a little bit like, I know you are not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but you're just trying to be realistic and being real about it. But in some ways, I got to shine a light, even though, because it can get depressing. And during the game, I was saying, we got to believe they can still beat them, even if the odds are against them. We still got to believe it and hold hope. And in some ways, in the middle of the game, you're kind of saying, yeah, we're doomed. We're going to lose no matter what tonight. I'm like, no, don't be like that, Stargate. Let's speak into existence Raptors' success of overcoming 8 versus 5. That's what I say. But man, I applaud you, man. I'm with you, man. We are Canadians. We're strong and proud. And we're going to fight for what's right, for what we think is right and just. That's right. I'm with you, Stargate. Mo's saying W stream, W vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak crew, strong forever, despite this crazy outcome. Yep, I'm with you, Mo, on all that. Thank you for the cutoff, my producer. Mike's saying the refs have changed the way they call like soft contact. Braun is getting less free throws. They aren't calling everything anymore. That's the FIBA-ization of the NBA right now, and I like it. I'm applauding that. But the sad thing is, Mike, that sometimes the NBA refs will switch back to the soft-ass touch fouls when necessary to make things happen as the way they want them to. And that's the problem right there. They got to be consistent with the allowing of contact. And if they're not going to call a lot of contact early because it's FIBA rules, well, forgive us for using contact later because you didn't call it earlier. All of a sudden, it's a foul in the fourth quarter. That's manipulation. Right there is what I'm saying right there. Nako's saying OKC number 1, Cleveland number 2. Celtics are probably better than Dallas with Porzingis. Yeah, I could get behind that. I mean, that was proven in the finals last year. I think that the Celtics are better than Dallas. I don't have a lot of faith in Dallas or New York after playing them these last 2 games. They had to be handheld, both of them, to beat us. If they're so good, they should have beat us like Cleveland and Oklahoma City did. But they didn't. They had handholding. And that's where I got to say, yeah, they're not as good because they didn't beat us outright like SGA did, like Jared Allen and the Cleveland Cavaliers did on the first day. Yeah. Stargate saying, if you want to come down on me for being unapologetically Canadian and calling out obvious xenophobia, then so be it. I believe in Bobby and Masai in this organization, but I'm proud Canadian first. Man, no gripe with you, man. It's just in some ways, sometimes I guess maybe I have a little bit more of an optimism slant on my language. And I just felt like you're being a little pessimistic. That's all. But your voice is valid and all your opinions are valid. And I don't disagree with you. It's just that I want to be able to shine a light and give us a chance. I just have to have Seymour Papes. You're saying we have a chance. That's all. And I don't want it to be so doomsday. It's like, yeah, it's wise. It's futile. There's no point in what we're doing as fans of this team because they're never going to let us win again. I don't want it to be that way. I have to believe. Once again, man, we're on the same side, and don't take me as being like opposed to you or anything. In some ways, it's a different style of saying the same thing. And I'm trying to put a silver lining on it is basically what I'm saying. Yeah. Wayne's saying Cat call on Kelly was ridiculous. Cat was out of control, stepped on Kelly's foot and fell forward into Kelly. Those crooked calls during the game is so obvious. Apart from the Pistons, who else is dropping? Yeah. I mean, there you go. There you go, Wayne. I'm with you on all of that. G saying we have the best front office and our players are high quality. No doubt they will overcome the BS and will be better for it. Yes, and I really believe in our coach also. I really, really do. Carlos saying, for me, this unfairness gives me more meaning to being fans of the Canadian team. It's much harder to win up here. Put Bobby and Masai on a U.S. team. Watch them build a contender in a year. I agree with this. And in some ways, that's why it's so commendable that they don't go the easy route. It's so easy to just quit on the Raptors, say, oh, this is so hard. And maybe that's why it's hard to get players up here, the big free agents, because they know it's harder to play for the Raptors and overcome everything against us. In some ways, lazy players like Dame Lillard don't want to come here because they'd rather go to Milwaukee, where it may be a little easier. Yeah, Nick Nurse going to coach for Philly, he probably got it easier when he went there afterwards. I'm just saying, it's just how it is. Bobby Masai are real ones for sticking with us. They could have sold us out and taken jobs in other teams a few times, but they have not because they're real ones for our city, our country, and our franchise. And I love them for it. I love them so much for it. Everyone's saying, let's start pushing RJ for all-star team in these media spaces. Yeah. I think that in some ways, if they're really looking at numbers, stats wise, he has a real case this year. And that in some ways, maybe the coaches will, in some ways, this is where we get some favor. The coaches see this. Even if the NBA media doesn't cover things right or give shine to people like RJ, the coaches see this. They play him and they have to make plans for him. And in some ways, the coaches may be more likely. Like I said, the fans won't vote RJ into the All-Star game, but the coaches may look at it all and say, you know what, RJ's an all-star, and we'd like to add him on the bench for all-star. I could see this happening. It's the coaches who will put him in, if not a replacement choice by Adam Silver. But I don't know if RJ will get in because he has that competition with Scott. Now, if Scott is hurt now for a while, and he's hurt for most of the time between now and the All-Star break, then RJ will get strong consideration to be our All-Star representation this year. And I'll be all about that in some ways. Not because Scott's hurt. I hate that, but we'll just say that. Milbester saying we ended up winning the trade anyway. Randall is not fitting well in Minnesota with Ant-Man and Rudy, and Dante's not getting minutes. We might get Dante back next season. Wolves are already trying to trade him. Oh, you guys are horse traders. You guys with your way you do things. You know, I'm not totally willing to give you guys that yet. In some ways, I get it. DiVincenzo's minutes have been cut. Randall is weird in some ways there, but also not totally out of the picture, not fitting with them. The Timberwolves are weird. In some ways, they're kind of messed up. But I'm going to tell you right now, Milbester, don't count on Cat to help you in the postseason. I'm telling you right now, just as much as the Sixers shouldn't count on Embiid to stay healthy, that in some ways the pattern of the career of Karl-Anthony Towns is that he is not there in the playoffs for his team with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the criticism towards the Timberwolves from before of Jimmy Butler was directed mainly at Karl-Anthony Towns and being soft. In fact, last night in our broadcast, Leo Routon said this specifically. He's like, Cat's a great player. He's a great season player. But what is he going to do in the postseason for them? That's when you need to worry about him, Milbester. Is he going to disappear for y'all when you need him the most? That's what I'm wondering right there. Milbester saying, I'm happy to see RJ taking leaps in his game since the trade. He's really settled in back in hometown of Canada, but I do miss him. That's awesome. You know what? And we can share OG. We can share RJ. We'll share them with you, man. That's what we'll do. Mo's saying Grady Dick now 1 for 7 from 3 in clutch situations this season per the NBA. Well, that's going to get better. That's definitely an area where our Grady can be better is clutch threes. Nako saying Precious being a little bigger is the only thing he has on Mobo. I thought Precious was doing good as a role player. You know, I saw them as being the same size when they were out there. They were matching up pretty good. And it was really funny to see them playing against each other, honestly, since Precious was fake. Mobo was fake Precious for a little while. For a little while there, he was like fake Precious around Toronto. But yeah, I thought that they were the same size. I didn't actually see Precious as being bigger than him, which was interesting. Mike's saying Mobo is like a Draymond in ways, like a Swiss Army knife. No, Eugene Omoruyi is like Draymond, and Mobo is like Scotty. Nah, we don't make Draymond Green comparisons unless it's that kind of player like Eugene Omoruyi. He looks like Draymond to me, not Mobo. No. Mobo's much more athletically talented than Draymond Green. Mobo's not Mobo. Mo's saying, as I said in the chat last night, I always want to see Raptors coming out of the halftime strong, and they finally did. They put a smile on my face. Yeah, they did a really good job playing in the third quarter. They won the third quarter. It really was the first quarter and the fourth quarter. They lost the Knicks, and the fourth quarter was really railroaded. Really railroaded. That's right. Most saying nice ovation for OG. Yeah, that was really cool. We're classy like that. OG's in good standing with us. We're no hard feelings. Nothing against him in any kind of way. Nothing like Vince Carter. Nothing like Chris Bosh. Nope. Nako saying, love me, Chris Boucher. Kelly fits the team better. I think this is part of it. I think that Kelly is the kind of player that Darko really values. And Chris, in some ways, he's a nice luxury of hustle and three-pointers, but he's just not the right player for Darko's system. I didn't want to admit this last year because I really do have a strong affinity for Chris, but I think at this point it is evident, and it's just that's the justification why he's DNPing right now, guys. In some ways, we needed him because of health concerns earlier in the season. Well, people are healthy. Chris is DNPing now, unfortunately. Let's see. Most saying, so Lex, for the Vince Carter dunk anniversary game, February 12th, I got my ticket super early. Now this one, I'm very excited about the jersey retirement. Not so much, but got to meet Oakman. Yeah, you got to meet the Oakman. That was awesome seeing you with Morris and Charles at the Vince Carter jersey retirement night. That's fantastic. And you're excited to go to the dunk 25th anniversary of the dunk competition that Vince Carter did, where he put himself on the map in Oakland with that crazy, probably the greatest performance in a dunk competition ever. I mean, that Jordan and Dominique stuff in the 80s is around there. But man, even Spud Webb when that one year in Dallas. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Nako's saying, no, Lex, it's Terry Silver we need to beat. Terry Silver? You mean Adam Silver? Yeah, we need to beat Adam Silver. Cool Cat saying, in professional sports, no more lifers on a team. That era is over. It's all business for profit. No more sentimental value. Everything and everyone is a commodity now. That's the sad world that we're going into. Well, fuck that. I reject that. In fact, my channel and the way I run this channel is a big FU to that kind of idea. The fact that I don't care about making any money. I don't care about doing subscriptions. I don't care about any of that. That's part of me saying F you to the new world order that is starting to come around, where only money and bottom line and profit shareholders and increases in quarterly reports matters to certain people. Well, fuck that. The things that matter to me are friendships and people like Monique, like Cool Cat, like the people that frequent my channel. And that's the way I live. That's the way I'm going to live. I'm going to live and walk the talk and say, I reject that. And I'm going to live the right way. And what matters in this world, even if other people are more and more disillusioned and going in that direction. Lex is going to get back to the roots of people, nature, the natural world, and away from the bottom line of corporate think and profit margins and bullshit like that. Cutting costs, cutting jobs, doing all that bullshit that hurts people. That's right. Commodities. No. You want to look at me as a commodity? You can't commoditize me, Rogers or Bell. Fuck you guys. I'm on YouTube and I'm independent and I have my own damn voice. And I will never be bought out. Seriously, y'all may come to me and say, yeah, we'll do this, Lex. You're going to be the Stephen A. Smith for Canada. We'll put you on TSN. Nah, bitch. I don't even care if you give me more of a platform, because I need my autonomy and I need my respect for myself, that I didn't sell out like that. Seriously, y'all could throw a huge fucking salary at me and I wouldn't take it. I would not take it at this point, because I understand I would become compromised. And in some ways, I never want to be compromised as far as how I can be the way I am on this channel and speaking the way I do. And in some ways, I never ever do that. That's right. Nako's saying, remove all patents from medicine. Yeah, in some ways, the stuff with Mark Cuban and the insulin is so amazing. Honestly, it's very, very amazing. And we need more people like Mark Cuban that care, that have money, that are willing to do this. That's what I'm saying. It's not the people that are getting subjected to this bullshit at the bottom that can do something about it. It's people that have power, that see that it's wrong, and they have the funds and the resources to try and fight it from within. Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the world, but Warren Buffett very as much open that says that people in the United States that are very wealthy need to be taxed more and pay more of their fair share. He gets it and he understands it, but he's not the common among his peers. There are very much people that are misers, and they're like, no, fuck that, Warren, shut up. No, Warren Buffett gets it, that they should be paying more of their fair share. Even Mark Cuban has said it himself, that I should be paying a higher percentage of taxes than a teacher, that's a school teacher that's doing so much for our society, and they're getting nailed with this stuff. And this is the problem. Everybody got duped by the Trump platform. He's going to drop taxes on those very rich people, and he's going to raise taxes on everybody else. You fools. He's not helping y'all. He's going to help his rich crony friends and pay back all his favors. He was never, ever going to help y'all at the grocery store. He was never, ever going to lower your taxes. Then he's going to make y'all pay more out of the nose now that he's back in power. Oh, he's going to do it punitively too. Watch. With no remorse and no heart, because the man is a fucking piece of shit is what he is. There you go. There you go. Let me keep going. Stargate saying RJ is going to snap on the refs one of these days, and I wouldn't blame him. He talks to them very forthright. He said some stuff to Bertoni at one point last night where he's very convincing, and I think he was pleading his case in a very measured, adult way and not losing his temper. That's the one thing. In some ways, Scott loses his temper too often, and he's going like this and stuff like that. That doesn't help him. He doesn't get anything from that. RJ, though, he can come to them very sternly and say, Tony, I'm getting fouled just as much as they're getting fouled. Why are you not calling fouls for us? And if he just calls him on that and he starts talking to him, he'll get more from that than Scotty yelling, like, what are you doing? Ah! In some ways, that's what Scott needs to do, is take his emotions and rein them in. He did a freak out last night at one point earlier in the game. I was like, Scott, you don't need to do this. Why are you freaking out on them? You really don't need to do this. It's not like that. And RJ could be a better example for him on how to talk to the refs in a calm, cool, collected way where he gets more from them because he comes at them in a calm, cool, collected way. I'm just saying. Let's see. Nako's saying our funding for healthcare down here could be better. We have the best healthcare in North America. Singapore has the best healthcare in the world. Yeah, in some ways, there's a lot of models out there that work better than U.S. and any kind of emulating of the U.S. system up here is stupid. First of all, so anybody who's trying to drag us towards an American healthcare system in Canada, reject them and vote against them, and don't have them get into power. In some ways, we have to do everything. We got to go out there and vote, because in some ways, they're going to try and buy the vote. They're going to try and stop people from voting. And the most rebellious thing you can do is go vote, even when they tell you, what's the point? Oh, it doesn't matter. People say, oh, they're both bad. No, fuck that. They want you to believe that, so you stay away. And we need to vote, y'all. We seriously, the voting percentages in Ontario in the last provincial election were horrible. Not enough people got out there vote, and we got a really bad premier because of it. So don't fucking be lackadaisical next year. And don't just vote in the general election for the whole country. Vote in every election you get the opportunity to, local, provincial, and national, because it's important, y'all. Seriously. And don't let them tell you that it is not worth it. They want you to believe that, so you won't go, and then bullshit happen like what happened in the U.S. last month. I'm just saying. All right, let's keep going. Mo's got my cutoff again. Thank you. Cool Cat saying, I use other social media tools, Blue Sky and Spoutable, using Twitter for sports. Hopefully they pivot soon enough. Yeah, I've switched. I cut my X, and now I'm only on Blue Sky. And it's doing exactly what I want it to do, actually, without all the bullshit. I get Blake Murphy, Michael Grange, Josh Lewinberg, Oren Weisfeld. I get all the guys that I want to hear when they talk about the Raptors, and none of the other extra crap. And it's perfect. Thank you. I get all my information. I'm not lacking anything from making the switch, and I'm not looking back. I only miss Leo. That's the only thing. Milbester's saying we even lost the Jazz during our 5-game road trip, and we had a couple in the West Coast. They had 3 days off during 4-game win streak of the West Coast trip, and we lose the Jazz by 1. Blackhawk saying if Blue Sky had Spaces feature, I would dump X. Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll get that into development down the road. I know you and Cool Cat really enjoy the Zazu Spaces. And who knows, maybe that is in the works and they'll get to that point. We'll have to see, Neil, and we'll let you know. And great to see you once again in person on Sunday, Blackhawks. So fantastic to get to hang out with you at halftime at the game. Stargate saying, I like Deuce. He is a Toronto-type player. Wink, wink. Who knows? I mean, Miles McBride is very valued by the Knicks, and he is a Knick guy. But who knows? He's not the kind of player that I would say, no, you can't come to Toronto. I'd definitely be happy if he was on our team, for sure. Yeah, Stargate saying, like them not calling Lucas carrying the ball on every other play. Surprised they called it only once the other night. Exactly. They'll nail him for that every once in a while. I like that. Milbester's saying, OG's been great with the Knicks community. He recently had an event where he was buying sneakers for kids. Really nice to see. He's having a great bounce back year with the Knicks. He's got stronger in the gym. Well, bounce back from his injury. Yeah. He's a good player. We love OG, man. We really, really do. Cool Cat saying, I see the NBA collaborating with FIBA to have competition in different regions. Heat's in Mexico, Pacers going to France, Celtics in Abu Dhabi, growing the game globally to make more money eyeballs. Well, this is what they said. I don't know if they're exactly going to start their own European league, NBA Europe. I think they may buy existing leagues and make them a part of the NBA umbrella. It's starting to morph, the whole idea of being the NBA in Europe, because they're really pushing for this. This is something Adam Silver really wants. It's not that they're going to be in the NBA where we play them against each other. Well, maybe the champions of those leagues that are NBA affiliated will play the NBA champion in a world championship format of tournaments, something that we talked about this summer. Could that ever be possible? You know, the NBA champion is not technically the world champion. I agree with that. But if you took the NBA champion and put them against EuroLeague champions, you could actually get a good call on saying, yes, this is the world champion. But the world champion is the one who played in that tournament that was down in Southeast Asia in the summer. And it was a Spanish team that Melvin Ejim plays for that is actually the world champion of the world for basketball, not the Celtics. So if the NBA goes and does something in Europe and gets their own league over there, maybe this is what they're trying to cultivate, an actual championship for the world between the NBA champion and the champion of whatever they're building over there, because they can control it with the rules better, because it'll have the same rules. Who knows? We'll have to see. We'll see. It's all playing out as we speak. We'll have to see. Milbester's saying crazy how the Bucks and Sixers were last in the East, and the Cavs took first 15-0 start. Yeah, very weird start. Knicks in the fourth for the longest time with the Magic in front of them. Been a weird season. Pacers been awful too. East is wide open. Yeah, that's why I say our season isn't over. We can continue to go, and if we get healthier and we start winning more, we could be in the playoffs. We can be in the playoffs. Most saying I wasn't planning to go on January 18th, the 9:05 game, even though 9:05 paid for me. It's still hard to go. Yeah, I mean, Mo, you came to this one. If you can't make the one in the 18th, I understand. It's such a short turnaround and getting ready, but I really enjoy going out there for the game on Sunday. And I do really want to sit at courtside. So in some ways, I want to see if you can get down there with us. But if it's too much of an effort and you're more focused on going to Raptors games and you're busy with that schedule more, I totally understand if you can't make this one. But this is something I'm kind of doing to make up for David and Kareem and a couple other people that wanted to go this Sunday, but they couldn't because they had other obligations. So in some ways, I'm going to say, yeah, let's go to the 9:05 game, January the 18th. Mark your calendars now, Gerald, and let's go. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Milbester's saying, Lex, I saw the shot of OG jumping in front of McBride to block RJ's shot. Deuce is shorter than RJ, and he tried to block the shot. Laughing my ass off. Wow. There was a point where OG blocked Scotty. And in some ways, that was the kind of moment where I wanted Scott to get some pride and say, oh, shit, my good friend OG just blocked me, and show something. The old NBA, you get shown up like that where the guy blocks your shot. You're coming back at him 10 times more to try and beat him on the other end. And in some ways, that bugged me that Scott kind of just rolled over and let him block him, and he didn't have an answer for him. This is something I want you to work on, Scott. Motivating yourself to go above and beyond because you've been shown up on the court. Whether it's shown up by SGA last week, shown up by Luka and Kyrie on Saturday, or shown up by OG Anunoby blocking your shot. And then he blocked somebody else's shot right afterwards. In some ways, you should have taken that as, oh, shots fired. I'm coming back at you, and I'm going to dunk it on your head, OG. Because that's the competitor I want to see in you, Mr. Barnes. And in some ways, I get a little worried when that kind of stuff happens. MJ had his shot blocked like that. He would come back and pay them back. And in some ways, I want to show you the competitor in you is somebody keeping score, and will do that. That kind of pissed me off. That Scotty did not react to OG blocking him. In some ways, he should have took it to him after that. Wayne saying, final point, we win games in the future the way we've been playing time. Yeah, the signs are all there. We're right there with it. We're not getting blown out. We have a lot to work with, and we have time also. And that's what we have to remember as Raptors fans. We're not going to be perfect right now. We don't know how to close out games against playoff-tested teams. In some ways, we have to get time accrued and experience. This is the thing. Don't throw it out early while we're still cooking and change it around too much so we have to start over again. That's the problem with a lot of these teams at the bottom. They're not patient with the ingredients that they have and allowing them to mature in the right way to get to the promised land. In some ways, you scrap it too soon, all of a sudden you have to start over to a degree. So I say, Raptors fans, be patient and allow this nucleus and not call out for a lot of trades or changing the coach or anything like that, because it starts us all over again. And in some ways, we need to accrue the knowledge and the time in the playoffs and playing against top teams like this and learning more and more what it takes to win. And that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Wayne saying, Lex, what's your handle on Blue Sky? What do you think it is? Then you know how to find me. That's that, right? You know what it is, Wayne. You know what it is. You'll find me. Mike saying, my comment about Mobo was like comparing the defense and passing and scoring game is similar to Draymond's role on championship teams. Mobo is more athletic for sure. I hate Draymond, and I hate how often he gets compared to other players. They compared Scotty to Draymond when he first came in the league, and I hated it so much. It was so unfair, and it was an insult to our guy, young Scotty Barnes. Draymond Green is a thug to me. He's not somebody to look up to or say, yeah, this is somebody we're like. This dude has a extra card that he has that nobody else has to commit violence in this league. And in some ways, he's not a commendable person. Some people can talk about him being so great at defense. I don't think so. In some ways, I say if you call somebody like Draymond, I think it's an insult. So that's why I hate anybody who compares him to that. In some ways, Eugenio Moroy is like Draymond because he does a lot of dirty shit himself. And that's why I'll allow that one. But not good players like Mobo and Barnes. No, those guys aren't like Draymond. Those guys are like themselves, and they're going to be better and better. That's why, Mike. That's why I'm Mike. That's right. Mo's saying no more comments, Mike. Almost 3 hours. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mo. Yeah, I'm just under 3 hours right now. He limited his comments, and I appreciate that, Mike. Dap to you for that. I'm gonna give you a dunk, Mike, for being considerate of this. And Milbester also, thank you for limiting your comments and not too much repetition from you, sir, which I appreciate, Milbester. And I like that you were here for today's game reaction with the Knicks game last night. 172 from Mike on the dunk charts. All right, let's go through and make sure I've got all my tabs read since we're at the end. The Raptors lost a 5-point loss to the Knicks, and honestly, they got railroaded. It's sad and it's too bad. It is what it is. They want to script right. They want to help the Knicks. Well, Knicks, it's your time. Go get it. And someday, hopefully, the Raptors will get our time. Even if the refs are never on our side, we'll get our time eventually. Watch. My 3 stars of the game, RJ Barrett, Jacoby Walter, and Jakob Poeltl. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, y'all, if you want to find me on Blue Sky, I'm Raptors Freak on Blue Sky, just so y'all know. Happy birthday to assistant coach Bob Byer. He was assistant coach for the Raptors in 2003. I guess that was under Kevin O'Neal at that point, or Jay Triano. He's currently an assistant coach for the LA Lakers. But yeah, happy birthday to Bob Byer. We take care of all of our former players and coaches on the Raptor Freak stream and recognizing their birthdays. So happy birthday, Coach Byer. Yeah, he's somebody who's only on our team for 1 year, and he's currently with the Lakers, but we're still saying happy birthday to him. All right, that's it. Check y'all's fantasy teams. I'm playing Gerald right now. It looks like Gerald's going to beat me 4-3 in our matchup for this past week. So check on your fantasy teams and get those dubs. And only 8 teams will make the playoffs. So make sure you're one of the top 8. Thanks for watching me today, y'all. Appreciate y'all letting me gripe on all kinds of different things, whether it's the society we're living in, whether it's the NBA we're playing in. Yeah, there's things that the veil's lifted, and we see how unfair certain things are. Well, what can we do but go forward and continue trying our best in an unfair society and system? We're going to do what we can. And, well, hopefully things will get achieved and we'll get things happening no matter what, even if they throw everything at us to stop us. All right, y'all, I love you guys. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. I'm out. Tomorrow, we're going to have a Wow Wednesday because we're off again. And there's no game, so there's no preview or nothing. So we'll see what I'm wowing about tomorrow. Maybe I'll be talking more about WNBA and giving more shine to Teresa Resch and the Toronto Tempo team that's starting to be built here in Toronto. So who knows what I'll wow about tomorrow. Maybe some news that happens in the NBA or with the Raptors. It could be whatever. But yeah, Wow Wednesday tomorrow. Preview for the game on Thursday. And then Friday reaction. And then Saturday, Share the Love Club. I've already decided it's going to be Jose Calderon. I have not done anything to share the love for Jose. So we're going to do the Jose Calderon Share the Love Club on Saturday because he needs that due for being on the Open Gym episode recently. So yeah, Jose, you're getting our love on Saturday. And then there's a Sunday report even on Sunday. So some off-season schedule this week with a Wow Wednesday, a Saturday Share the Love Club, and a Sunday report that I've still not determined. Could be very well on some of the stuff we talked about today as far as the NBA and how it's going. All right, y'all. Thanks once again. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join the channel if you feel like it. Membership has its privileges. You get to join our Facebook chat live during the game and interact with Monique and I and other Raptor Freaks talking about the game in real time as it's happening. It's a lot of fun in there during the game. All right, y'all. Touch grass. Have a good day. I appreciate y'all. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors 905. Let's go NBA WNBA Toronto Tempo. And let's go to our Canadian men's and women's basketball teams at all levels. Rooting for all y'all. Those are the teams we root for on this channel. Let's go Toronto. Y'all like my flag? It's pretty good, eh? It's pretty good, eh? I like that flag. It's pretty good, eh? Yeah, let's go.